every risk is on the table, from high winds to tornadoes, EF2s or larger, to hail to dangerous thunderstorms.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear there today declaring a state of emergency ahead of tonight's severe weather. These 4 days of storms are especially concerning for western Kentucky, which is expected to see historic amounts of rain as well as strong winds and possibly tornadoes. In response to the state of emergency, JCPS has canceled all activities this week. Thanks for joining us on WHAS 11 News at 4. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Today is a weather impact alert day, and that's why we have a team of meteorologists in with us this afternoon. Matt Breland has a look at how you should prepare for tonight's weather. But first, we want to start with Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, who is timing out tonight's threats. Mallory.
Good afternoon. Once again, most of us included in at least a level 3 out of 5 for severe weather this evening and tonight. But if we zoom in closer, you can see around the Louisville metro area off to the west included in that red color. That's a level 4 out of 5 because we are expecting strong to severe storms to roll through after about sunset tonight, taking us into the early morning hours tomorrow. Right now, pretty much the calm before the storm here. You can see that here on the satellite and radar. So we've been dealing with a mix of sun and clouds for your Wednesday. These red polygons that you're seeing, these are tornado watches that are already in place just off to our west. And you can see the line of storms that have been firing up in Missouri over to Illinois, Arkansas, with warnings already embedded within them. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings as well. Current wind gusts here at home, though, of course, that wind is blowing. We are dealing with wind gusts 35 to 40 or so miles per hour. And because of that, we've been under a wind advisory since 8 o'clock this morning. This will take us through the rest of the day today, so be aware of any flying debris out there. This is all ahead, of course, of the stronger gusts that we're expecting through that line of thunderstorms later on tonight. We certainly have the fuel for those storms. Temperatures are in the upper 70s and lower 80s, running about 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. You'll notice that humidity has been increasing throughout the course of the day as well. But your hour-by-hour futurecast here will likely stay dry for the next couple of hours. But once we head into 8, 9 o'clock or so, you can see this line of storms really approaching from the west and northwest. And you'll notice some of this segment will be bowing outward, and we will have these small notches within them. So what that means, damaging wind gusts, embedded tornadoes likely, heavy rainfall, even a hail threat. Basically, all severe weather modes are on the table here as we head into tonight. So 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, taking us through midnight into the early morning hours tomorrow. And then, unfortunately, this front does look to stall out pretty much right over our area. So what that means as we continue onward throughout the week, it's going to transition over to a flooding threat with rounds of showers and thunderstorms. But out ahead of this evening and tonight's severe weather threat, there are a few ways that you can prepare. So I'm going to toss it over to our own meteorologist, Matt Breland, for more information on that. Matt?
Thank you, Mallory. Yeah, we are continuing to expect those dangerous weather conditions as we head into the evening hours, and some things that you've got to remember are how to stay up to date with the latest forecast. So here's what you can expect whenever we do have severe weather at night. You want to make sure that you have all ways of receiving severe weather alerts. That includes having the charged cell phone, and also you want to make sure that you have access to all the latest updated information. So charged cell phone is going to make sure that you have your alerts and notifications turned on, and also have that weather radio close by as well. Make sure that that is charged up, and make sure you're designating a safe place in your home, whether that's in your hallway, in the bathrooms, somewhere away from windows. If you live in an apartment building, I would suggest knowing people that live on the first floor or going into that region where usually the trash is being held. Those are going to be some of the safest places that you can go to whenever this type of weather is expected. We'll continue to keep you updated with all the latest details regarding this stormy pattern coming up here.
All right, some good advice. Thank you, Matt. Well, the National Weather Service now says 5 tornadoes hit Kentuckiana Sunday night. Officials say an EF1 tornado with winds up to 90 miles an hour hit parts of South Meade County and Hardin County. The NWS also confirmed a tornado in Breckinridge County. This is in addition to the tornadoes previously confirmed in Jefferson, Spencer, and Bullitt counties. Surveys are still being conducted. And tonight, the Bullitt County Emergency Emergency Management Agency is opening up 5 emergency shelters for the incoming severe weather.
Just southwest of Shepherdsville, the National Weather Service confirmed an EF1 tornado touchdown and did cause some damage. WHAS 11's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Jessica Farley are now live in Mount Washington. Jose, are officials taking this recent tornado as a warning of what might happen again tonight?
Shay, Connie, the answer to that is yes. Bullitt County Emergency Management Agency and the mayor of Mount Washington say that weekend's tornado is eye-opening, and that's why they're opening up emergency shelters. We're here at Bullitt East High School, and right now, let me show you what we got so far. Emergency management dropping off these cots, these blankets, water, and even some snacks as they prepare to welcome people within the next hour. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at some footage that we did capture earlier of inside the school. It was a very vacant when we showed up around noon, but the Bullitt County EMA Director Justin Warren says they are making their rounds to deliver supplies, the ones I just showed you there, water, blankets, cots, everything like that, so people can feel comfortable. Now we caught up with Mount Washington Mayor Stuart Owen about who they expect will take advantage of this.
Typically, the most vulnerable, we assume, are going to be folks that don't have a basement or a cellar of any type and are seeking shelter. This, we're not saying that the school is rated for tornadoes, but it is, as you can see, constructed out of concrete blocks.
I also asked the mayor about the recent tornado in Shepherdsville. Here's some video we took of that aftermath on Monday evening. Owen and the director of the EMA are calling it an early warning sign on what could come back to Bullitt County with tonight's storms. And of course, they continue to push out there about safety plans. We want to talk about those safety plans. If you are at home, make sure you're in the inner part of your house or utilizing that cellar or basement. If you don't have that available to you, there's emergency shelters here in Bullitt County, just like here at Bullitt East High. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. And the EMA director telling me if the rains become too intense, especially when you're driving, to always turn around and don't drown. Don't drown. That's exactly what he wants people to know when I asked him about what public announcement he wants me to make to y'all tonight. Until then, we're going to be checking in back with you within the next hour as the shelter continues to prepare to open up. Reporting live in Bullitt County, Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 on your side.
Thank you so much, Jose. Good reminders there. Well, make sure you're downloading the free WHAS 11 app to stay updated on tonight's storms. That's where we will send you the latest information about any severe weather we may get. Plus, we stream all of our newscasts on it. So if you do lose power, this is a great way to stay informed. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to download it onto your phone.
And turning now to our weather once again, it is a weather impact alert night due to the threat for strong to severe storms after about 8 p.m. taking us into the early morning hours on Thursday. So you do want to make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. Make sure you have ways to receive warnings overnight while you're sleeping. Go ahead and charge your phone now and make sure you are prepared for that storm potential, because we do have basically every severe weather mode on the table. We're talking about the threat for damaging winds first and foremost with this line of thunderstorms that will be rolling in, this squall line. Within that, tornadoes are expected to be embedded, similar to what we saw Sunday, but potentially with some longer, really threat tornadoes there, longer track tornadoes, and likely more warnings as well. On top of that, large hail, it is possible, and heavy rainfall will really be a threat that we continue to watch through the rest of the week here. Max HD radar showing the big picture view of the weather system that we're tracking. You can see this low pressure system already packing a punch with showers and thunderstorms, some with warnings on them already. That yellow polygon, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. The red polygons, those are tornado warnings that we're already seeing in Arkansas, Missouri, moving into Illinois as well. So zooming in a little bit closer, these big red swaths, these are all tornado watches. So once again, a watch means we have the right ingredients for tornadoes or severe thunderstorms. A warning means you do need to seek action now. You want to head to your safe place. Thankfully, here at home, all is quiet for now, and much of the afternoon should be quiet. We're starting to see a few cells pop up, but we're really waiting for this main line to head our direction later on this evening and into tonight. As I mentioned before, we definitely have the fuel for thunderstorms. These temperatures, they are warm. We are in the 80s primarily all across the Commonwealth into southern Indiana as well. 82 in Louisville, 80 degrees in Bowling Green. So we are running 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. You tack on the moisture as well. Dew points well into the 60s. So you need a few ingredients for severe storms. You need the moisture, you need instability. We get that often with the warmer temperatures. You need a lifting mechanism, which we will have with the cold front, and also you need shear or spin. And unfortunately, we're going to have all of those ingredients as we head into this evening and tonight. So hour by hour futurecast here, staying warm and very windy. Of course, we're dealing with those strong wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour. This is out ahead of any thunderstorm there. By about sunset, we start to see those storms approaching from the west. That is if nothing pops out ahead of the line. But if we're just watching for that main line, it's looking like 8 or 9 o'clock into our far western counties. So areas like Jasper, Indiana, Bedford, Paoli as well. And then as we get closer to 11, midnight, 1 a.m., that's when I'm expecting that to really impact the Louisville metro area. This will continue east and southeastward through the overnight hours, but it is expected to stall out a bit. So it's going to lose some of its pacing. It'll likely be a slower system than what we saw Sunday night. And because of that, we will have those rounds of showers and thunderstorms as we continue onward through this week. So really a 1-2 punch this week. We have the severe weather threat tonight. We could have additional strong storms as we head into the next couple of days. But really that main threat transitions over to a heavy rainfall and widespread flooding event, as we're talking 6 to 12 inches of rainfall throughout Kentuckiana, even higher amounts down to our southwest around Paducah. And similar to those areas in western Kentucky, with the rain, they're also dealing with a higher storm threat tonight as well. So here at home, we're under a flood watch this evening through Sunday morning. Stay weather alert not only tonight, but really for the next several days, because even though it might just look like rain, we're going to have some flooding concerns, some major flooding concerns as we continue onward here. We have those weather impacts through early Sunday. We finally dry out as we head into early next week, but temperatures will be cooler in the 50s.
Thank you so much, Mallory.
Right now at 5:30, we're now tracking the approach of severe weather that should be in our western viewing area around nightfall tonight.
That means possible nighttime tornadoes, the worst kind of severe weather we face as people are wondering, should they go to bed? And hello, everybody. Our weather impact alert coverage continues here at 5:30. I'm Connie Leonard.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. We're also thrilled here tonight to announce that our weather impact team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, is now expanding, as WHAS 11 announcing today that former National Weather Service Chief Meteorologist John Gordon is now joining us as a special contributor for the storms. He's going to be with us as long as we need him, right, even through the weekend. So let's get to Mallory and let's get going on the forecast, and then you guys are going to break it down.
Right, yeah. So let's get us out to our weather maps right now so you can get an idea of the kind of risk that we're under this evening. Of course, we've been talking about this for the last several days, even while we were tracking Sunday night's severe weather. But this is the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, and those storms already going, and they're strong. In that level 5 out of 5, that high risk category that we're seeing in eastern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, also western Tennessee around Memphis, western Kentucky as well. Most of us included in that 4 or 3 out of 5 for the severe weather outlook. And once again, I don't want you to focus too much on where that split is taking place. Just know that we are expecting very strong storms this evening and tonight, and eventually they will weaken as they continue to push east, where they lose a little bit of that daytime heating and that steam. But we're expecting major impacts here at home in terms of damaging winds, embedded tornadoes, hail, heavy rainfall, and that heavy rainfall risk will take us throughout much of this week. Latest look at the satellite and radar. We're just dealing with those very gusty winds. We have that wind advisory in place. We've had some wind gusts 40 to 45 or so miles per hour today, ushering in that warm, moist air. But off to our west and off to our southwest, we're starting to see those storms really develop and packing a punch, tapping into some of that shear, really triggering some of those tornado warnings, that purple box, an observed tornado that we're seeing there. And these translucent red boxes, these are tornado watches that are in place just off to our west and northwest. So a lot to get to this evening. Once again, very gusty winds in place, giving us that warmth, giving us that humidity. Temperatures running into the lower 80s at this hour. So we have that instability. We have plenty of moisture to work with. We have some lift due to a cold front moving through here, and we have some rotation, that shear to tap into. Your futurecast WHAS as we continue onward throughout this evening and into tonight. Of course, take any kind of these models with a grain of salt, but we are expecting those storms to roll through primarily after sunset this evening, taking us into the overnight hours tonight. This line will likely slow down as it marches eastward, which can get pretty dangerous in terms of that flooding and heavy rainfall threat. So we will be with you throughout the storms this evening and tonight, especially because, as we mentioned, nighttime tornadoes can be very, very dangerous.
John, you and Mallory have been analyzing the approach of the storms. You're used to issuing tornado warnings for Kentuckiana. What are the highlights you're seeing right now where we stand?
Absolutely. Right now, there's some dangerous supercell tornadoes down in northern Mississippi and western part of Tennessee. They're going to come up to the northeast. That high risk is really good where they placed it. This is the real deal, folks. If you have friends in the Memphis area, Tupelo area, these are killer tornadoes. That stuff will move up to the northeast. So the window, as far as renegade or warm sector tornadoes, is really this evening till about 9, 10 o'clock. Then you saw in her maps that Mallory just showed you, that line will move to the east, and those are going to bring 40 to as much as 70-mile-an-hour winds through the metro, probably around 10, 11 o'clock tonight.
So expecting a lot of power outages, guys?
You never know.
It's
but I
always
always
a
say
risk.
yes, I'll go with that. So we got wind, we got lightning, we got heavy rain, isolated tornadoes, and I think some of the storms to the west of us will have big hail. Not good.
Yeah, not good at all. And then really looking onward throughout the rest of the week, flooding threat. That's a major issue. And people, I think, are wanting some perspective on that because we can give them, 6 to 10, 12 inches of rainfall, but what does that mean for us? And like in your experience in years past, how much rainfall did it take to really cause some catastrophic issues for us?
We were already wet in February.
Right.
We just had all this rain Sunday. So we're going to add between 6 and 10 inches of rain. I think 17 is a bit overdone.
Oh, yeah.
So in that area, we're going to have flooding problems, period.
So the ever-present threat right now, nighttime tornadoes, which none of us like. We all know how much of a problem they can be. The likelihood we will see tornadoes develop over Kentuckiana, this region.
I think we're going to have tornado warnings tonight. There will be tornado warnings, period. There'll be a tornado watch that goes up just west of Louisville. There will be a watch up probably in the next 2 hours, 3 hours. And then the tornado warnings, there will be warnings definitely west of Louisville, and we'll just have to see if it comes in Metro. Just what you said, Doug. I mean, we had tornadoes at night, Sunday night, just a few days ago.
Right.
Yeah. And guys, why are we seeing them so much now? I mean, normally you think of April and May as the top 2 months for tornadoes, but we had almost 200 in March, they're saying, or more than 200.
When you get a really strong upper jet stream and it gets warm in the warm sector, you always get tornadoes east of the Rockies. And you saw what happened in Alabama, you saw what happens in Arkansas, and now Kentucky. So we're definitely under the... Folks, this is the real deal tonight. Pay attention to the coverage. We'll give you the best weather information we can.
Where's the historic precedent in this, John? Not only talking about the flooding, but of course we are parked on the anniversary of April 3rd, 1974, tomorrow.
Yes, we are. April 3rd is tomorrow. Every late March, early April, we get these type of events between the warm season and the cold season. There's a lot of cold air. It's snowing in Minnesota. And now up down here, we got the warm sector. And as far as the rain goes, every big major flood in the area here happens between December and April. And this is like 37, 45, 64, 78, 97. This is when it always happens, and there will be river flooding. It will be happening.
Why is the rain hanging out for a few days
Great
here?
question.
That is a good question.
This front that will not leave.
It's
this
just gonna
front will be
stall out.
pesky. No one will like this front. It's going to hang around, and it won't go away till Sunday.
Right. So just rounds of rain that will be riding this same kind of stalled out front here. So that's why we're really concerned about heavy rainfall leading to that flooding threat as we continue onward. We're going to have to watch those river levels. And I know, Doug, we've been talking about thunder over Louisville next weekend and how that could potentially impact the waterfront.
So why don't you both, you're very good about this, getting people prepared as sunset comes. How should they be operating this evening and to get alerts? So Mallory, why don't you start on that? I know John.
Charge your phone now before the power does go out. Of course, make sure you have several ways to receive weather warnings. It's something that can wake you up in the middle of the night. I know a lot of that's on our phone now. Weather radio is, of course, great. Make sure you have fresh batteries in those. And just, I know my sister-in-law texted me and she was like, should the boys go to bed in the basement tonight? And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. Just go ahead and do that. That way you're not panicking when an alert goes off and you're just already in that safe place.
Yeah, the thing I tell people right now while you're watching WHAS, talk to your family. What is your plan? What are we going to do if we go to the softball game this evening and come home? What are we going to do if we're out at the store? What are we going to do at home? Where is our plan of action? Tonight is the way, plan now, so it doesn't, when the warning comes out, what do we do? Plan now.
Guaranteed warnings.
There will be warnings tonight, 100%.
Okay. All right, there you go. And we are pleased to have John joining us as a special contributor, again, led by Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell. Right now is the best time to download the free WHAS 11 app. If you lose power, you can still watch Mallory, John, and Matt Breland for live storm updates. And then we want to let you know, watch our special weather broadcast with Mallory, John, and Matt live tonight starting at 7:30 on WHAS11.com, the mobile app, and WHAS 11 Plus. And of course, we'll be breaking into programming when those tornado warnings.
All right. Well, we want to mention that former National Weather Service Director John Gordon is live to discuss tonight's round of severe weather. But first, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell is in as well. And everybody's been talking about this for days, and I've been worried about it for days.
Yes.
I know. Storm anxiety is very real, but that's why you have to do what you can ahead of time just to prepare. Make sure you have that plan, and that really should ease some of that anxiety. But it's going to be a long and busy night, and we're definitely here for you. It's a weather impact alert day, and you can see we are expecting, of course, severe storms. So as we've been saying all week, make sure you have several ways to receive warnings, those alerts, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, watches as they continue to come out this evening. One way you can do so is by scanning the QR code that you see on your screen here and downloading the WHAS 11 News app. Max HD radar, big picture view, very dynamic system that we tend to see in the springtime. Once again, we're dealing with snow and ice on the cold side of this system as this low pressure system continues to march eastward. We are in the warm sector, so that warm front has been lifting throughout the day, bringing us very gusty winds, warm temperatures, high humidity as well, giving us that fuel for strong storms. And then what's really sparking them is this cold front as it continues to track eastward here. So that's that line of storms that we're waiting for tonight. But out ahead of it, we are seeing a few storms that are firing up, more supercell-like storms to the east and southeast of that. So this translucent red color that we're seeing from Chicago down to East Texas, northern Louisiana as well, that's a tornado watch. Several tornado watches that are in place. And yes, we are likely expecting to see one for our viewing area. It's not out just yet, but of course we'll keep an eye on that and let you know when that's issued. But as I mentioned, we're watching that line off to the west, and out of front of it, these are more supercell-like storms. So these have a hail threat, a strong tornado threat, and these are forming in where that high risk level 5 out of 5 for severe weather is located, around Memphis, Tennessee, West Tennessee. That could lead up into western Kentucky, and these are really marching very quickly. So we'll have to watch those this afternoon and more so early evening before that main line comes in after sunset tonight. So a lot going on the radar just off to our west. Once again, I know you can feel the warmth, you can feel that humidity, you can feel that fuel as that warm front has continued to lift here. But take a look at this temperature difference: 58 in Chicago, 80 degrees in Indianapolis, 61 in Fort Wayne. So that's where that warm front is currently located, that cold front off to the west. In addition to the warmth from the warm front, you get all of that moisture. We have a lot of moisture to tap into with this system. You can feel that with the dew points in the 60s. So this is just that additional fuel to really spark those strong storms that we are expecting later on this evening. Now, this particular model does not have those supercells that we're currently seeing in West Tennessee here, but we'll have to keep an eye on those as they try to really surge northward very quickly. And then here's that main line. The timing has pretty much been after about 8 p.m., 9, 10, 11 o'clock, continuing to slow, unfortunately, as it marches eastward. We're going to see some notches in here that can lead to those embedded tornadoes, strong winds, of course, a threat, hail, heavy rainfall. And as this stalls out late tonight, flooding will be an increased threat there. That's going to be a threat that we continue to watch for days on end as this front really stalls out and we see rounds of rain off and on throughout the rest of the week. So I want you to stay weather alert not only tonight, but throughout the entire week here through this weekend, as we are expecting 6 to 10 plus inches of rainfall from these systems here. And because of that, for good reason, of course, we have a flood watch in place from this evening through Sunday morning. That rain finally gets out of here as we head throughout the day on Sunday, and we are expecting some quieter weather next week. So 7-day forecast, a lot of red because we have weather impact alert days now through the weekend with that flood watch in place. Next week trending a little bit quieter, a little bit cooler. Temperatures will be in the 50s, so I know we're looking forward to that. But in the meantime, once again, just make sure you have several ways to receive alerts. We will be here all night with you, guiding you through this storm. We're going to get through it together.
John, you're used to setting off the tornado warnings, working with your colleagues at the National Weather Service. I know you've been in contact with them here. And what are you all discussing as far as the real probability this is going to be bad by the time sunset comes?
Okay, so what you just saw Mallory do is in the north, those two cells coming out of western Tennessee right now, those are renegades. Those are the ones we have to watch between about 7:30 and 9:30. They're the ones that could produce tornadoes and large hail. Then you have the line. So you asked me just a minute ago, what is the probability this will not happen? The line will happen.
Yes.
There's a 100% chance, right, Mallory?
Yeah.
100% chance. It's the renegade cells that come out of western Tennessee. Those are the ones that could be very bad if they get up here right now. Right now, they're kind of ragged, so we'll be watching those. Those are the ones that could produce large tornado threat in western Tennessee and western Kentucky. That will get up close to Breckenridge and Grayson counties by about 8, 9 o'clock. So we'll just have to watch, see if that maintains itself.
Yeah, I was asking you a minute ago, why is it that western Kentucky always tends to get hit so bad?
I don't know. There's a lot of weird things that happen in weathers, but this is a classic setup. You have really cold air to the north, real warm air to the southeast. You have an upper level jet stream, and you have a lot of energy with that. We just talked about 81, 82 degrees today. So you have fuel, instability, lift, but it's much worse. We're going to guide you through this tonight, but it's much worse west of here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really bad, life-threatening in the Memphis area, up to Jackson, Tennessee, Paducah.
And unfortunately, that's the same area that's setting up to get the greatest amount of rainfall this
Yes.
week as well. So it's really that 1-2 punch of the severe weather tonight, the tornado threat, and then the really longer flooding threat that we're expecting.
Right, 100% chance of flooding. It's going to happen.
So talk about this temperature factor, you know, because you're not expecting this until 8 or 9 o'clock, but is that going to be much of a difference to matter?
No, there's just too much wind energy. So we look at wind energy, the low levels and the upper levels, and there's a lot of spin. There's a lot of spin, there's a lot of instability, and there's a lot of moisture. Those are what you need. All the things that we talk about, this is not April 3rd, but this is certainly an event that bears a lot of watching tonight. There will be warnings.
Yes.
We will guide you through this tonight.
So for the folks that are at home watching you guys tonight, when do they know to go to the basement? You guys will tell them, I'm sure, but, you know, is it when the watch turns to a warning?
When you go to a warning, the warning means its conditions are favorable or that it's been spotted. You know, I'm always begging for good spotter reports. I'm still pleading. I've been pleading for 40 years. We need good reports.
Okay.
The key then for the moment is the real watch time. Are you thinking for Kentuckiana, maybe the first tornado watch or warning could be issued around 8 o'clock to the western counties, the WHAS
Yes,
doing
we'll have a watch by 8 o'clock. Between 7 and
yeah.
8, there'll be a watch up, for sure.
And lasting, how late into the night are we talking about, John, in your
2,
view
3
of this?
o'clock in the
Definitely.
morning.
It's gonna be a long night.
Eastern counties will be 2, 3 in the morning, finally end. Heavy rain tonight, too. That's not the thing. What kills the most people? Flooding.
Flooding.
Yeah.
We have a lot
In
of
your
problems
car,
with
too.
in cars. Tonight, nighttime tornado threat, nighttime flooding risk. Don't be going out if
Stay
you don't
home.
need to tonight. Stay home, watch us. We'll give you the best information we can.
That's a good point. And you're going to be all over our social media, streaming live on
Yes.
the WHAS11.com and the app.
7:30 and 8:30. We'll have 2 live streams.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. As our coverage will continue with our new weather impact team expanded here for you to get you through these storms.
Absolutely. And of course, don't forget to download the WHAS 11 weather app. You are going to need it tonight. It's so great to have. When you lose power, you got it right there in your hand. Have it charged, ready to go. Have your phone charged.
And don't forget at 7:30, we're going to start hourly updates. Again, you can watch them on the app, WHAS11.com. Mallory and John, Matt Breland, they're going to be here giving you the updates you need. We're a couple of hours away now, as we've just been learning from those storms moving into the Kentuckiana area. Our chief meteorologist.
And we're going to take you live out to a tree down on a car at Manslick and Palatka. This is around Iroquois Park area. This is due to the winds that we had today. We've been under that wind advisory all day due to wind gust 40, 45, even up to 50 miles per hour in some spots. So once again, we're taking a live look to a tree down on a car at Manslick and Palatka near Iroquois Park area. And we're expecting likely more of that as we head into tonight due to damaging winds from severe thunderstorms that will be rolling through the area. So we have a few storms that we're watching down in Tennessee right now that's out ahead of the main line. I want you to stay weather alert from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Hopefully it does not take that long, and that's not for everybody. It'll be kind of cutting across the area here, but make sure you do have several ways to receive warnings, ways to wake you up in the middle of the night in case you do need to seek shelter in the lowest level of your home here. Max HD radar right now showing the big picture view of what's marching across the country. One of those dynamic spring storms here where we have snow on the north side of it, very cold air. We have very warm, moist air that's been surging upward. We've been in that warm sector with this warm front continuing to lift, and here's that cold front triggering this line of storms. But as I mentioned, the storms out ahead of it that we're seeing, especially in West Tennessee, we'll have to watch those over the next couple of hours here. See all this translucent red color that's really stretching from Chicago down to East Texas? Those are tornado watches in place. Of course, those smaller polygons, the yellows or orange color, that's your severe thunderstorm warning. The reds, those are your tornado warnings. And anytime we do have a sign of a tornado on the ground, a visual there, those would turn over to a purple. So these are the storms that we're first concerned with in West Tennessee. They're trucking along and really moving northward pretty quickly. So we'll see if they tend to clip some of our far western counties here in Kentuckiana. And then behind that main line that we will be tracking with you as we head into tonight and very early tomorrow morning. Temperatures, we can feel that warmth. We can feel that fuel in the air. Temperatures are well into the 80s all across the region. Dew points well into the 60s. So we have those ingredients for strong to severe storms in terms of the instability, in terms of the moisture, in terms of the lift, and in terms of the shear or that spin in the environment there. And your future cast as we carry onward throughout the rest of the evening, once again, we'll be watching those potential supercells as they continue to charge north and northeastward. And then you have that main line that will be moving through Kentuckiana here. So with that, you have that damaging wind risk. We'll have to watch for those small notches like what we saw on Sunday that could cause those embedded tornadoes to develop. And then this will turn into a heavy rainfall threat as well overnight as this front really continues to stall out here. And that's what we're going to be watching throughout the week. This flood watch in place this evening through Sunday morning. So don't let your guard down after tonight. We could have additional strong storms, but really our concern after tonight will transition over to that major flooding threat. That's why you're seeing a lot of red on our 7-day forecast. We finally get that rain out of here sometime Sunday, quieter early next week.
Mallory, as you know, we announced today that retired Louisville National Weather Service Director John Gordon is now joining the WHAS 11 Weather Impact Team as a special contributor. He's going to be with us all night long through the storms and the flooding. And John, of course, in your former role, you were helping set off the tornado warnings for Louisville. Break down what you're most concerned with right now at this minute and when the alert time should really start for us.
What Mallory just talked about, there's one particular cell. It's just northeast of Jackson, Tennessee. It is moving at 50 miles an hour. You do a trajectory on that, that is going to get up into Breckenridge and Grayson County in about 2.5 hours. There will be warnings on this. I think they're getting between ping pong and larger hail right now in western Tennessee, and it's got signs of a tornado right now. That's the main immediate concern.
Yes, so we have those renegade cells out ahead of that main line, and then we have that line that'll be marching through. So of course we have that wind threat, and then potentially those tornadoes, those really finicky tornadoes on that lead line.
Right. Okay. A lot more coverage throughout the evening. John's going to be here with us. We'll break into programming, of course, when those warnings are set off. And at 7:30, they're on the WHAS 11 app and WHAS11.com with a special weather presentation along with meteorologist Matt Breland. We'll be back with sports right after this.
Your tenderness.
Max 1 in the computer behind me. We do have a tornado warning issued for portions of Orange County, and this will only be in and out very quickly here. You can see here on the Max HD radar that line of storms that we've been talking about all week that will be moving into our viewing area with damaging winds and embedded tornadoes. It is beginning to move in, and because of that, once again, we do have this tornado warning in place until 10:45. Probably will not last that long, just for the upper, really northwest corner of Orange County here. So it does look like just north of French Lick, northwest of Paoli as well. So if you are in the line of that storm, better safe than sorry just to get into your safe place. We've been watching this particular cell for quite some time, since it was around Evansville, and it's been kind of rotating, then falling apart, rotating and falling apart. National Weather Service saw just enough rotation here on the velocity to at least issue that warning. At the very least, we are expecting strong winds out of this, but once again, this is northwest of, or north north of French Lick, in the northwest corner of Orange County. But I do want to draw your attention to the bigger picture view here, because we do have a very large severe thunderstorm warning in place that's going to be heading toward the Louisville metro area here soon. I'm going to step off the wall so we can take a look at the specifics on that this evening. But this will be carrying the risk for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and also the threat for some rotation as well. So that's what you're seeing in that big yellow polygon here, really stretching from Orange County over to Salem, over to Corydon, Brandenburg, down to Hardinsburg as well, and then off to the west. That's where we have been seeing some bowing with this segment, and there's going to be some strong winds associated with this. So this severe thunderstorm warning will be taking us until 11 o'clock this evening as this storm continues to push off to the east and northeast here. So it's going to be a big wind maker, and also we're seeing some signs of the tornado warnings on the west side of that warning currently. So we're talking about not quite in our viewing area just yet, but something that you do want to be prepared for here this evening. So once again, we still have that tornado warning in place for the northwest corner. You can see right there in Orange County here. This is until 10:45, but will not last that long at this point. Orangeville included in that. It's really moving off to the north, more so into the Mitchell area there, that county right above that. But this is the reason why we are breaking into coverage at this point due to this tornado warning. We break into coverage anytime there is a tornado warning in our particular viewing area, and that is the case this evening. I am joined this evening by meteorologist Matt Breland and also John Gordon here in the studio, and their mics are on, so they can feel free to chime in at any point if there's something of concern that they've been noticing.
So right now, the storm or Orange County, folks in Orange County, if you're up near Orangeville on the northwest side, that's north of US 150, and over towards Orleans, this is only going to be in your county for less than 5 minutes, and then it will move out. As Mallory just said, the one that's really getting our attention is this what's called a bookend vortice, this line of storms that she just mentioned heading towards Santa Claus, Huntingburg, and Jasper. That's going to get into the Louisville metro and all across Kentuckiana in the next hour and a half.
Yes, so once again, we're watching that long line of storms off to our west and northwest here, and it's been slow moving, but it is beginning to move into the Kentuckiana viewing area. And as we mentioned, our main threat here would be damaging winds, but also we're worried about those kinks in the radar, those notches as well. That's been allowing for just enough of that rotation to trigger the tornado warnings that we have been seeing. So anytime you're seeing a bowing segment like that, you really have to worry about those strong winds, which is why we do have that warning in place for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. I don't know if, Matt, if you could take the radar off this and just show the warnings, that might be a good kind of look at the scale of this and kind of clutter down some of the radar that we're seeing at this point.
Yeah.
There you go. Click right there.
Absolutely.
That will give us an idea of what we're seeing. So obviously anytime where we do have the orange or gold color, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. That's due to wind gusts 60+ miles per hour. This particular warning in place from Hardinsburg stretches all the way up into Salem, Bedford. That's a new tornado warning. Is that a new one, guys? They extended that one from Orange County?
They have extended
it looks like
that.
Okay, and that's into Lawrence County, yes?
Now until 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, so they just kind of extended where we were seeing a bit of that velocity, and that's continuing off to the northeast. That is until 11 o'clock Eastern time. And just a reminder, whether you're under this tornado warning or also even under this severe thunderstorm warning for wind gusts 70+ miles per hour, you do want to head indoors, stay away from windows, because wind damage can do just as much damage as tornado damage can do. And then off to the west, all of these red polygons around Jasper, that's where we're seeing maybe some of those bookend vortices with that bow echo. We've been watching this cell since around Evansville. We did get a receive report, I believe, at the airport of 64-mile-per-hour wind gust with that. So this is creating some strong winds. In addition, of course, heavy rainfall, frequent lightning as well, and that flooding threat that will persist throughout tonight and also into really the rest of the week. So this particular particular cell, the reason we popped on here is for this northwest corner here of Orange County, around Orangeville there. So that is northwest of Paoli. Paoli, you are not included in that particular tornado warning. French Lick, that's off to your north as well. But you can see as we head into closer to Bedford, Mitchell, you all are now under that tornado warning. This is until 11 o'clock tonight. Could we put the velocity on this to see what the latest look looks like?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so this is the reason for that warning here. You can see any time you're dealing with those bright greens, bright reds, that's where they're seeing maybe some kind of rotation. In this particular cell, it's had a history of creating some tornado warnings down the line. So we've been watching this as it's continued to track east and northeast. It did kind of weaken somewhat, but obviously the National Weather Service saw something to go ahead and at least trigger that warning as it continues off to the northeast there into Lawrence County. So here's that big picture view. You can see all the warnings along this line. This is a very potent system. So Louisville, this doesn't include you just yet, but on this latest track, as this line segment continues to push off to the east, we are expecting those winds to head into our area eventually, and also potentially that rotation that we've been watching within those kinks of that linear segment there. And if you do advance to the next graphic, all of us are pretty much included in that tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. So that difference between a watch and a warning, that watch, of course, means to be prepared. We have those right ingredients for strong storms, for tornadoes to occur. Warning means you need to seek shelter, you need to take action. So anytime you get that notification that you're under a tornado warning, sometimes you hear those sirens going off within your county. And if you are included in the polygons that we show, that would be red. Those smaller red polygons, they're for shorter periods of time compared to a watch, of course. That is when you do want to seek shelter, you do want to head to the lowest level of the home that you're in, get away from windows, and make sure you do protect your head. Stay in that safe place, of course, until we do have that cleared out of the area. Guys, do you have anything additionally to add currently?
Yeah, for Mallory, so that will be out, it's almost out of Orange County. So the folks in Orangeville, the storm is just passed to your northeast. It's right on the Lawrence County, Orange County line. So the folks in Spring Mill Park and Mitchell, the southeast part of Lawrence County, you start to see a couplet there just southwest of Mitchell. That is a concerning area. So if you're in there, get your safe plan, have a plan of action of where you're going to go. Back to the west, Matt can show you that line of storms coming into Huntingburg, into Jasper, into Santa Claus, and down towards the southwest. On the leading edge, you can have a spin-up tornado on the leading edge of the Bow Echo, and also on what's called the comma head or the bookend. Those are areas right now have your safe place. These are going to get into all of the Kentuckiana counties. Over there in Sulphur and English, it's going to move all into the metro here before you know it.
Thank you, John. Do we have a storm movement on these particular storms, how fast they're moving? Did the warnings let you know how? Because if we could put a track on some of these, that would be great.
The one in Lawrence County is moving at 50, 55,
okay,
and the
so
line, I believe, is moving at 35. Let's see what Matt has.
And we can put a cone on that to see what track is going to show where we're expecting storms to arrive next.
Right.
So whenever we draw this line here through the warning, these are the cities that are going to be included in there whenever we adjust the storm to the speed. John, you said they're moving at 50.
30. It's moving to east. The line is moving 30. The storm up there in Lawrence County is moving at 55.
Okay. So whenever we draw this cone along with the warning line, these are the cities that are going to be impacted within the next few minutes.
Okay, so we're talking Georgia, 1036. It's currently 1036, so that would be over you. Rabbittville at 1046, Crawford at 1056, Heltonville at 1103. So you can kind of see where it's trying to wrap around itself, and that's why we do have that warning in place. Once again, this is for Lawrence County until 11 p.m. I do want you to be in your safe place. It is moving out of Orange County at this point, so if you are in areas like Paoli and you might have heard sirens, this is all off to your north, but you are included in that bigger segment of some stronger winds that we're dealing with. We have that very big, if we can zoom out, that very big severe thunderstorm warning in place. This is out ahead of where we're also seeing some embedded rotation, I believe, around Jasper here. So this particular warning, if we just put on the warnings here, we are dealing with 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's what it's being warned for. We have had some reports of at least 64-mile-per-hour wind gusts around Evansville so far. And take a look at all of these red embedded tornadoes. I believe we have a new tornado warning. It looks like down near Hardin Hardinsburg.
Yes.
That
Just
one was
came
not
out.
up before.
Yeah, that just came out real quick. Mitchell, if you're at Spring Mill Park, this is really tightening up in the last couple scans. So folks in Lawrence County, if you're down there just south of Bedford, down towards the state park, off on US 37, that area is a place for you to get your plan of action right now between US 37 and Highway 60 and Spring Mill Park, and the new tornado warning that just came out that covers our southwest into Breckenridge County. That's for a new cell where the circulation is southwest in Ohio County. That's southwest of Fordsville, northwest of the county seat of Hartford. Before you know it, that will get up towards Cloversport and Hardinsburg.
Yes, so that's the latest tornado warning that has been issued. This is until 10 o'clock Central Time here. So we have a few tornado warnings going on. One is the one that is now moving throughout Lawrence County. It was in that northwestern corner of Orange County, and that's where we're starting to see that rotation kind of tighten up a bit. And then now this is our new tornado warning until 10 p.m. This will eventually be heading into Hardinsburg here. And then that bigger picture view, once again, was the big severe thunderstorm warning that we do have in place, and this is just off to the west of the Louisville Metro here. So we were seeing just enough bowing where we were definitely getting those high velocities and high wind speeds along this line, and then in addition to that, we're watching for any kind of rotation on the edges of that, like we're seeing around Jasper here. Could we put just the warnings again? I do think that kind of cleans it up just a bit.
Yes.
Obviously, the radar is super important. A lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning along with it, but this might be an easier way to kind of take a big picture view of what we're seeing. So once again, this gold or yellow color, severe thunderstorm warning, and some of those really packing a punch. This is warned for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Is there a hail threat with this as well? I know there's a tornado possible tag, I believe, with this this current severe thunderstorm warning that we're seeing from Hardinsburg, Brandenburg, Corydon, just off to the west of the Louisville Metro here. And then those red polygons, once again, those are our tornado warnings that we're watching. That one storm moving from Orange County into Lawrence County, and then also this one that's going to be eventually heading toward Hardinsburg as well.
Yeah, the hail threat, that's not a hail threat on that one. There's no mention of that. Let's, folks in Orange County, even though you're under a warning right now, it's less than 5 minutes, they're going to let it expire. You're okay. It's now Lawrence County.
Yes.
Over there by the state park by Mitchell. There's a nice couplet there. Wouldn't be surprised to see a tornado on the north side of Mitchell. And now you see that line moving to the east. Mallory just mentioned the one that's in Ohio County. That's got a nice couplet northwest of Beaver Dam and Hartford, north of the Parkway. That's moving off to the northeast towards Cloverport, Hardinsburg. Further to the north, I'm concerned about the stuff in Du Bois County over there to Spencer County. Before you know it, that's going to be over there in Crawford County and approaching the Louisville Metro.
And we got new tornado warnings in as well. This is for eastern Du Bois County and south central Indiana, along in western Crawford County and northern Perry County, and also southern Orange County, in place until 11:15.
Okay.
Right, so this is that newest one. So it looks like they extended it eastward from the storm that we were watching in Du Bois County.
Correct.
Where that rotation was.
So now it's the southern part of Orange County now, not the northern part.
Right. So northern part, that has been cleared because that's continuing to move off to the northeast there into Lawrence County. But this is the latest tornado warning that we're seeing here at until 11:15. So basically this line, it's moving in from the west. It's packing a punch at the very least with heavy rainfall and very strong winds. And at the very most, we have now a lot of embedded tornado warnings within this line where we are seeing just enough of these little notches here to show where they're seeing some signs of rotation that could indicate a tornado trying to form. So if you are under a tornado warning, now is the time to seek shelter. We were mentioning earlier to prepare ahead of time, so make sure you get down to your safe place and stay in there until this tornado warning has cleared your particular area.
That's a really smart tornado warning the Weather Service in Louisville put out. It's nice and big. It's covering all those little kinks that Mallory was just talking about. There's a lot of leading edge nubs from Santa Claus up towards Ferdinand, up to Jasper. That's just going to continue, so they put out a bigger warning to cover all that rotation in there. Meanwhile, we got a supercell that's flying out of Ohio County. That's straddling the river right now, and that will be up towards Cloverport and Hardinsburg before you know it. That one's moving faster, so the individual cells are moving around 50 miles an hour, whereas the line is moving east at 30. So the stuff on the leading edge is a greater tornado threat.
Yes.
The stuff behind has got wind and isolated tornadoes.
Okay, yes, thank you. Matt, if we could just reset the radar to the DMA view, the DMA camera view, I want to show everybody kind of the big picture view of what we're looking at. If you're just now tuning in, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell here alongside Matt Breland and John Gordon. We came on air because we did have a tornado warning for portions of Orange County that has now moved into Lawrence County as that couplet continues to tighten here. But we are watching this embedded tornado risk that we're seeing along this really line of strong winds at the very least, as this all continues to move from west to east throughout Kentuckiana here. Most of us included in a tornado watch now until 2 a.m. and we do have several of those tornado warnings included as well. Louisville, we're not in it just yet, but I do want you to prepare because you can see what is just off to our west around Jasper and English. There are some new tornado warnings there. Also Hardinsburg, this is heading in your direction. And then beyond that, just within, of course, that yellow, that is the severe thunderstorm warning that they just went ahead and extended outward to the east as this continues to march that direction as well.
Concerned about the one in Ohio County that will get into Breckenridge. That's got a really nice couplet, if you can show that, Matt.
So near Hardinsburg?
That's right on the river. That will be in Cloverport and Hardinsburg before you know it.
Okay.
So if you're in Hardinsburg, you're in Cloverport, Breckenridge County, have a plan. Be ready to go to your safe place, especially in Cloverport. That's got a really strong couplet on it.
And how long is that tornado warning in effect until?
16 more minutes.
Okay, so this is the particular warning that we are watching right now. So we have several tornado warnings in place. That one is until 10 p.m. Central Time, and of course we're continuing to watch the ones off to the north as well. And as we mentioned, if you are included in a tornado warning, you do want to head to your safe place, head to the lowest level of the home or the building that you're in, get away from windows, and make sure you do cover your head here. So we are watching this line of storms, and there have been a few, as John mentioned, some of these more individual cells that are moving a lot quicker. They tend to have more of that tornado threat, but even the line itself off to the west, that's moving a little bit slower, but still causing some of these tornado warnings to be issued out along that line. You can see from Paoli down through English as well, and we'll see if that continues to extend eastward here as we head into tonight. I was wondering if we could put a tracker on some of these storms here, whether we can do that line that we do have in place off to the west. I believe that one is moving off to the east around 30 miles per hour.
Correct.
And see when that could be heading potentially closer to the Louisville metro area.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and put that in place as well. We're going to see how far away we can, what the timing's looking like in regards to these storms. So whenever we draw out the line, you'll notice here we are expecting these to arrive definitely into the Louisville metro within the next hour. So I would say we're expecting these to head our direction likely as we head into the 11 p.m., further on into the 11 p.m. hour and closer into midnight is whenever this line will be making its way into the Louisville metro and closer into southern Indiana near Scottsburg as well.
And I'm starting to see some lightning strikes behind you because you have the Scottsburg camera, I believe, back behind you, Matt, this evening. But yes, this is an overnight nocturnal tornado threat, and that's why it is such a dangerous one, because you're either sleeping or you can't see the threat outdoors, of course. So this is not only a tornado threat, but it'll eventually become a flash flood threat as well. And you'll hear us say this a lot, not only tonight, but really throughout the week. Turn around, don't drown, because we are going to be dealing with some flooded roadways. If you don't have to be out tonight, really one of those nights that you will want to stay in and hunker down as well, because these storms certainly mean business, and they're really producing warnings all along this line anytime where we're seeing these little kinks as well. So we have several severe thunderstorm warnings. We have several tornado warnings within this line as well. You can see a lot of lightning, so these will likely be noisy storms with the lightning, the rainfall, the gusty winds. and they will be really packing a punch as we continue onward over the next few hours, because it's going to take some time. This main line is moving 30 miles per hour. So if you do recall, Sunday night, those storms were moving 45 to 55 miles per hour, which we are seeing with these individual cells here. But that main line moving about 30 miles per hour, east, slightly northeast, it's going to take some time to really clear the entire area here.
So let's look at the main storm. Right now we got Lawrence County. That one continues to rotate. That's south of Bedford. Over to Mitchell. We go further south to the big warning, the big fat warning that goes across from Pioli down to Leopold, down to Ferdinand. That's on the leading edge. There's several areas of rotation. It's not just one area. That whole area has got kinks and nooks and crannies. And then you've got what's 2 supercells. Worst one is approaching Breckenridge County towards Cloversport. That's on the river. It's got a nice couplet. And there's even a worse one that's further to the southwest. We'll see how that plays out to the southwest. That's also moving southwest of Owensboro. That's moving up. All of this is moving east. You just heard it's going to be in the Louisville Metro 11:30 to 12 o'clock tonight. Very heavy rain, lightning. There will be warnings. You can see that giant severe thunderstorm warning that goes right to the edge of Jefferson County, goes into Harrison County and Corydon. That's all moving to the east. It's coming. It's not, it might come. It is coming.
Yeah, so that's why you do want to continue to stay weather alert as we head into this evening, because this line, it is headed throughout Kentuckiana as we speak. Once again, the oranges or that yellow color, those are your severe thunderstorm warnings due to high winds, and then embedded within those tornado warnings, those red polygons that we're seeing a few of them at this time. So if we can kind of query those few tornado warnings that we still have in place, we have the Lawrence County one near Bedford. That one that we were watching from around Orange County, that takes us until 11 p.m. And then we also have, I'm not sure if this is one big one or a few combined ones, it looks like, from Paoli down to English, Perry County as well. That is until 11:15. And then on the south side of this one, closer to the river here, that's heading toward Hardinsburg, that one I believe is until 10 p.m. Central Time. Yes, so
11 minutes, yes.
Yeah, so if you're under a tornado warning, as we were mentioning, take action. We are seeing, these are tricky setups here where we are dealing with, of course, some cells out ahead of that main line, but within that line, we're getting all those kinks and knobs where we're having just enough rotation. We have all of those ingredients conducive for severe weather tonight in terms of instability, in terms of shear or that spin nature of it. Also in terms of lots of moisture to work with, so heavy rainfall will be a threat. And once again, just all of those ingredients that we're seeing, that lift mechanism, which is our front, that's continuing to track from west to east this evening.
Yeah, and another reminder too is even if you're not included in these tornado warned counties, these thunderstorms are still very intense.
Yes.
All of them are moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. And within these thunderstorms, even if they are not tornado warned, they still are containing winds that have gusts over 60 miles per hour, and some of them even have some small amounts of possibly nickel-size hail. But these thunderstorms, even though they do not, some of them not containing the tornado warnings, they still are going to have some very intense damaging winds associated with them. So that's something else to just keep in mind as well. Just because your county is not being announced over the air as one that's under those tornado warnings, this entire line of storms arriving into Kentuckiana is definitely bringing in a very strong wind threat all across our region. So we're going to continue to keep you updated with that. But as we said, these storms are traveling very quickly, around 70 miles per hour towards the northeast, and they're containing those strong wind gusts that could definitely cause damage, even if they are not tornado warned.
Right. The one that really catches my eye, the folks, really the most imminent threat is the one that's coming out of Ohio County. That's going up towards Breckenridge. That has got a beautiful couplet on radar, not so beautiful on the ground. That thing is moving off to the northeast between 55 and 70. It's getting a comma head. It's got a couplet. It's nearly combined and gate to gate. The greens and reds have coalesced right there. That's going to be a problem for Cloverport. If you're in Cloverport right now, folks, please execute your plan of action. Go to your safe space. This is the real deal. This thing is moving to the northeast rapidly. It will be south of Candleton. It will be somewhere near Cloverport and Hardinsburg. This is the one that really catches my eye on the radar. You see to the north there, you've got that line that continues from French Lick, our friends at French Lick, to Birdseye, east to Santa Claus, down to Troy. There's several areas of rotation on that right there. Also, the one in Bedford, they re-extended that warning. That's going to go to the northeast. Going to miss Bedford, going off to the northeast between 55 and 70 miles an hour. Once again, folks, if you're getting in Breckinridge County, Cloverport, this is your most imminent threat right now. Very strong signs on radar of a tornado on the ground.
Thank you, John. So this is that particular storm that we are looking at this point. Currently, the warning is until, I believe this one is until 10 p.m. Central Time, but we can expect that obviously to be extended northeastward as it continues to show signs of rotation there. So as he mentioned, if you're included in this, you need to seek shelter immediately. And I'm just off screen here. I'm just going to look at some of the information here. Moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. That is a very quick moving storm here.
So the line is moving at 30, 35. The cells are moving between 55 and 70. So anything you're seeing watching WHAS or whatever your favorite radar is, all the storms on the leading edge ahead of the line are moving between 55 and 70. And if you really look closely on that, you can see a hook like this, a little candy cane. That's where the triple point is between all the rotation. So, folks, if you're just east of Whitesville heading to Cloverport, that is a serious problem. Have a plan of action. Be ready to execute it. I really believe there's a very strong tornado threat there right now.
Yes, thank you, John. This is moving northeastward, yes?
Yes, northeast between 55 and 70.
All right, so this is a very quick moving storm. I'm putting this into motion here. You can see the storm track that we're looking at. Cloverport, this is basically over you within the next couple of minutes here. So you need to be in your safe place. And as it continues to track eastward, where you're kind of seeing that notch there, as you mentioned, where it's trying to rotate amongst itself on its current track, 10:03, Stevensport. You have Irvington at 10:11, Andyville at 11:13. That's Eastern time. I know we're going between Central time and Eastern time. That can be a little confusing there. Brandenburg, if it continues in that direction until 11:19 there. So this is the main storm that we are paying attention to. But of course, we have several storms here as we zoom out. So I'm going to regroup to show kind of the big picture view here, give everybody kind of their bearings, and we're going to take off that track, and I'm going to put on just the warnings at this point. So obviously you can see the main line of storms that's rolling through here, and it's trying to, it looks like we have potentially a tornado on the ground there in this purple color. So anytime you see kind of a purple outline, that's usually where a tornado has been observed. That is just outside of our viewing area, but on that track, it would continue towards Hardinsburg and eventually Brandenburg. Once again, all of this just west of Louisville, but this line of at least very strong winds will be moving into our direction here soon. And we're seeing, once again, some of these cells out ahead of that line with this particular warning here that is showing some signs of rotation, certainly. So you certainly want to stay in your safe place as well. That storm up near Bedford looks to continue to track off to the northeast. Matt, if we could zoom up to that particular cell off to the north in Bedford, that looks to be heading potentially towards Seymour as well. So it looks like they've extended that. You can pause the radar and take a look at that newest warning that we do have here that I believe was just extended.
Yeah, they extended that off to the northeast. That will pass west of Seymour, west of Brownstown, moving off to the northeast at a pretty good clip, and they just did an extension of the tornado warning.
Okay, so that's the same storm that we were watching in northwestern Orange County. That's the reason that we did cut into coverage here. Just a reminder, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell here at WHAS 11. We are tracking this line of severe thunderstorms with strong winds, embedded tornadoes. I'm joined here by meteorologist Matt Breland and also John Gordon. We're analyzing this radar for you, trying to keep you the safest as possible. I know there's a lot of noise on here, obviously a lot of lightning. There's a lot of fuel, and here's kind of that simplified look of the polygons that we're looking at.
You just extended that one out of Breckenridge. It's going all the way up to Brandenburg now. The new warning just came out.
Okay, So this was that storm that we were watching that was showing those signs of rotation there that we told you to get into your safe place. This has now been extended up toward Brandenburg. This is now until 10:30 Central Time here. So if you see yourself in any of these polygons, you certainly want to seek shelter, head to the lowest level of your home. And as we mentioned, even back beyond, once we get past this tornado warning threat, the severe thunderstorm warning threat in terms of the strong winds, you can see on the backside of that near Evansville, you're starting to see those flooding potential threats as well. Flash flood warnings on the backside. So this is kind of a 1-2 punch, not only this evening, but throughout this week, where we are tracking that tornado threat. We're also tracking the strong wind threat. And then on the backside of that, the heavy rainfall and flooding threat. So not a good day or night, I should say, to be outside on the roads. Hunker down, stay indoors as we continue to track this really segment of line segment of storms, and also those storms that are popping out ahead of the line as well.
So the one that really continues to catch our attention is the storm that's just on the edge of Cloversport. If you look carefully where Matt's zooming in there, you can see a hook echo.
Yes.
All right, it is separated from the backside. That's a really strong indication right there where she's pointing. That's moving all off to the northeast at between 55 and 60 miles an hour, and they just extended that warning. You go up to the one in Lawrence County. That is it's going to miss Bedford. That's moving off to the northeast, going to miss Seymour. That's a mess of three different cells all together moving off the northeast. Then we have the giant tornado warning, the one that goes basically Paoli to English down to Leopold. There are multiple areas of rotation, not one, not two, not three, about 5.
Yeah. These kind of line segments are really tricky because you're trying to check out each and every little nub that can show those signs of rotation along that leading line. And so, you know, some of the supercells or those single cells are much easier to show. You know, we're tracking that one particular storm that's showing some signs of rotation or that hook. But anytime you get a line segment with a lot of these little notches in here, that's why you get those tornado warnings along that line. You certainly want to be safe rather than sorry as we continue to track any signs of rotation or shear along that leading line. So if we can zoom down to that one particular cell that we're watching around Brandenburg that was moving from Hardinsburg, let's just put the warnings on right now, and there we go. So this one is marching northeastward. This is the one that's moving at a very quick clip.
Cloverport, have a plan now.
So this tornado warning is in place until 10:30 this evening Central Time as we're continuing to watch that really concerning cell that's showing those signs of rotation, and they have continued that tornado warning off to the northeast as well. So if we can continue to maybe zoom in closer to the cities that are within that warning that we're seeing here, just zoom in as far as we can in this red category here. If anything starts to pop up. So yes, if you see yourself on this, Andyville, Painville, we have Derby, we have Freimeyer, we have Lodeberg, we also have Addison. Get in your safe place. If you are hearing the sirens going off outside, you do want to get to the lowest level of your home, away from windows. Make sure you are in an interior room, and you do, of course, cover your head. Make sure that's protected as well. Get your kids, get your pets, and make sure you are in your safe place this evening, because tornado warnings are something that you certainly want to take seriously, especially with the signs of rotation that we have been seeing so far tonight. We can put the radar back on here to get an idea of where this storm currently is that we're watching.
Yeah, in Cloverport right now, a strong rotational couplet. Please seek shelter in Cloverport right along the river there near 60, US 60.
So Cloverport, you need to be in your safe place right now. This is right along the river here, and it's continuing to march northeastward. Thankfully, it's moving pretty quickly. I do believe the cell is moving quite quickly with this warning.
Yes, it is moving northeast at 60 miles per hour.
Okay, so it's going to be in and out quickly, but I do want you to stay in your safe place until this has cleared your area. That looks like that is Tobinsport, moving toward Addison right now. You do want to be in your safe place. We have this tornado warning for another 30 minutes throughout this particular segment of the storm system that we're watching. And this is out ahead of that main line that we're watching that's off to the west here. Right. And within that main line, we're watching several segments where there could be rotation, any kind of knobs or notches where it can really tap into the shear environment that we do have. So here's that big picture view. Louisville, we're starting to get some rain, I believe, maybe some lightning strikes that you're seeing. You can see a lot more lightning off to the west. We've been tracking this storm system for quite some time and seeing it producing tornadoes off to our west in western Kentucky and also in Arkansas, western Tennessee, around Memphis as well. So it's really tapping into all of those ingredients that we do have in place this evening, packing a punch with those very strong wind gusts, 60, 70 miles per hour possible just within the severe thunderstorm warnings that we do have in place. And then within that line, you're also dealing with those tornado warnings that we've been talking about and the reason for us really cutting into this coverage. So we had that one in far northwestern Orange County that continued to move into Lawrence and then eventually off to the east there. And then these few that we're really concerned about more so along the river. That big tornado warning, Jasper, English, down to Perry County as well. And then just off to the north of Hardinsburg, heading toward Brandenburg.
Yes, so Mallory,
yes.
The one thing I was going to tell you is like the folks in Cloverport, there's a nastier cell behind that.
Yes.
So that's all training. There's going to be very heavy rain south of Owensboro.
Okay.
You saw the confirmed tornado warning a few minutes ago that
yes.
Mallory mentioned.
That
was the
purple.
one north of Madisonville. That's moving off to the northeast at a good clip, too. So you're not out of the woods in Breckenridge in Ohio County. Those storms are going to continue to go off to the east-northeast and will be another threat here within the hour. The storm just passed Cloversport. I hope everyone is okay there. It continues to move off to the northeast in Breckenridge County. And then you have that giant one that Mallory just mentioned. They're going to have to make a decision. They've got the giant severe out, really proactive warning from the Weather Service that goes way east, Salem and Corydon and over to Litchfield. Those are big warnings to give you advance notice, and then they'll upgrade because that one warning, the big one there between Paoli and Leopold, that one is getting almost out of the box. They're going to have to make a decision pretty soon of what to do with that. But the big rotation is on the northeast side of Cloverport along the river. That will continue to move up to the north side of Breckenridge County, north of Hardinsburg, north of Brandonsburg, and is a big problem right now. It continues to show very strong rotation.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, whenever we bring up the velocity map, you know, it's very important to pay attention to where we see these colors matching each other. You'll notice whenever we have this type of rotation, the red colors indicate where the winds are moving away from the radar, and then the greens are moving toward the radar. So whenever we have this type of signature on these velocity maps, that's whenever we pay very close attention to these types of storms, because that's where that rotation is located. That is where we're likely to see some of those, that's where the greatest potential for a tornado is likely to be, within this storm. So definitely be in your safe place right now. If you are located within this tornado warning that we've been tracking, it is going to continue to move very quickly. This includes the city of Masonville, and this is still going to be in place for the next several minutes. This is around until 10:45 Central Time, which is 11:45 Eastern Time for us here in Louisville. But this is definitely a very dangerous looking storm that we're going to likely have extensions on this warning as we continue to go throughout the remainder of our evening.
And continues to show a hook echo. Tomorrow's the anniversary, April 3rd. Those are the cells that move through that day. This is a good couplet where there's good rotation on the red and the green on the river northeast of Cloversport.
Yep.
And that continues to move off the northeast, right on the rugged country along the river, moving to the northeast. If you're on the northeast side of that polygon, like Alton and New Amsterdam, you need to have your safe place executed now.
Yes, so this is what we're talking about with this particular warning here. This is that storm that we've been most concerned about. Let me put this curved line on here instead. So if we put the warning on top of where this is currently located, this particular warning has been extended, yes, until 10:30 Central Time. And as you can see there, anytime we're talking about those bright reds, bright greens close to each other, that's where we're concerned about rotation here. So this is really, you need to be in your safe place. This is that storm that's just northeast of Cloverport. It is moving off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour at this point. So I'm going to put a tracker on this. And so we can get an idea of where the exact timing for it, because it does look like it'll be heading maybe just northwest of Brandenburg if it holds together here. Let's see.
Yeah. Also, one thing I was just looking at is the lightning. The lightning jump is really Evansville southward. So all the storms between Louisville, Evansville, and points to the south will continue. Whereas you start to see, if you go northwest of Paoli, that's a rain event now. The severe weather, even though you're under a tornado watch, is much less. If you're in Bloomington, the Vincennes, Princeton, west of Jasper, this is a rain event now. Everything to the east of Paoli is still game on. Lightning jumps have gone way up, and we continue to watch this one particular storm on the northeast side of Cloversport moving up into Breckinridge County along the river.
Yes, so this is where I just put this tracker on it to give you an idea with the current winds really track in terms of how fast it's moving, where it's heading currently, and you can see the timing here. So 10:07 Addison, 10:11 Ammons, 11:20 Eastern Time, Andyville. If you're in the line of this storm, you certainly want to seek shelter because obviously we have the tornado warning that's included for the next 23 minutes or so, that red polygon here. But even if it sticks together as it continues to track northeastward, because it's moving at a pretty quick clip, this is the latest timing here. 11:39 would be if it sticks together as it heads toward Corydon, Dogwood 11:36, Mockport 11:28, 11:25 in Battletown here. So this would be on more so the west side of the Louisville Metro at that point. We'll see if it continues to hang together. And as you can tell, as it continues to march northeastward, that southwestern edge of it is allowed it to be really cut away from that warning. So that's really a big storm that we've been watching here. A reminder that we're all included in a tornado watch until 2 a.m. So certainly don't let your guard down if you're not seeing those showers and storms just yet, because we do have activity that is certainly on the way for you. And we've been tracking that big line of storms really off to our west all evening. So that reminder, a watch, which most of us are included in, that means those severe weather ingredients are really coming together and severe weather is possible. That warning, of course, means that you do want to take shelter immediately and you do want to take action at this point. Doug, do you have something you wanted to add?
Mallory, along with John and Matt, we're going to pass along from our newsroom some of the information we've been getting going back to the radar reports that you all brought us earlier. Let's go out to Orange County, Indiana. That's the Paoli area. We just got off the phone with the Orange County Sheriff's Office there. They say they do not have any home damages right now that they can confirm. Of course, it's still in the middle of the night, but they're not telling us they're overwhelmed with calls. They did confirm that several trees are down in the Orange County Paoli area, and one tree was set on fire. So that sort of matches this back up to what you all were showing us earlier when that tornado warning was out moving through there. There is no catastrophic damage right now being reported in Orange County, Indiana. So John, Matt, I'll throw that to you. First of all, John, is that good that that's matching up with what at least the radar was showing earlier?
It is, Doug. The one thing I would give you a blessing for the folks in Orange and Crawford County is that continues to almost out of the polygon. It expires in 6 minutes. The only threat is in the far east. If you're in Birdseye and Leopold, Ferdinand, you're okay. It's just heavy rain and lightning. The only threat really is east of Paoli, and the far eastern edge of that box, I don't know if you got that up there, Matt, is just east of English down to the corner. And the Weather Service has decided to go just severe thunderstorm warning at this time. So that giant severe thunderstorm warning covers a huge area, which is very proactive and lets them focus on upgrading for tornadoes if they need to. Salem, New Pekin, Palmyra. If you're in Galena, Corydon, that's under severe thunderstorm right now. And now you see the continuing storm that went out of Cloversport. They've trimmed the warning a little bit. The rotational couplet is northeast of Cloversport, along the river. Really good signature on radar. It looks like Oklahoma tornado in Kentucky and Indiana.
So that's the storm that we were watching, yes, near Cloversport, heading into Meade County, heading toward Brandenburg at this point. So this is a look at all of the warnings that we do have in place for the Kentuckiana viewing area right now. You can see all of the severe thunderstorm warnings. This is what John was talking about, this massive severe thunderstorm warning. So this is a good call because at the very least, we're going to have damaging winds along that line and potentially within a few of those cells that are trying to pop out ahead of that line. And then within that line and also within some of those cells as well, we are seeing those signs of rotation. So that's where you're seeing these tornado warnings that we have been watching. That one that's moving, of course, out of Lawrence County. That was originally in northwestern Orange County there. And then behind that this purple, that's a purple outline? Did they have eyes on this tornado that was down to the southwest of Hardinsburg there, east of Evansville? Am I seeing purple, or is that a different overlay?
Can you tell yes, that is a purple outline. So this is from the National Weather Service in Paducah. That's a tornado warning for Davies County, which is northwestern Kentucky, and also northeastern McLean County.
Yeah, and that looks like it's moving northeastward.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the one that came flying out on just north on the Madisonville. That's the one I kept saying there's a worse one behind there.
Right.
And that storm apparently is confirmed. You see a really good on the bend on the Bow Echo there, Marilyn. You see it right there, and there's probably a confirmed tornado right there.
Okay, so if we can put either radar or velocity so we can kind of get our bearings here. So we're watching for each and every one of those. Yes, anytime that we're seeing these reds and greens, kind of a couplet trying to tighten up, that shows signs of rotation. That shows signs of something trying to rotate, something trying to produce a tornado as well. So this isn't quite in our viewing area just yet, but we're watching it because it's continuing to track off to the northeast. So these are kind of trailing storms that are moving over each other or over the same path here. So you might be in the clear of one, but you have to watch what's behind it as well, because we're still seeing some healthy storms there on the backside. And then within kind of this kink where we've been seeing really that bigger tornado warning that was off to the north there. So that's what we were watching east of Paoli, it looks like, and also, yeah.
So go to Meade really quick on the Breckenridge-Meade line there.
Yeah, so
that
go down.
is really wrapped up.
Okay.
Problem is it's really remote there. It's in the northwest part on the Meade, Breckenridge Rhine, west of Irvington, south of Mockport. So that's going to continue to move to the northeast. So folks on the west side of Brandenburg, Amsterdam, Alton, all those areas, that's the real deal. That's an Oklahoma supercell that's moving off to the northeast, nighttime, not good. It's got classic radar signature. That's one to really, really watch along the river.
Yeah, so this particular cell that we've been watching, and we've really been focusing in on that particular storm because it looks to be, quote, the healthiest, unfortunately, that's showing those signs of rotation. We're seeing that on radar and also on velocity, and it's marching off to the northeast, and that's why we do have that tornado warning in place until 10:30 Central Time here. So if you're in the line of that, just west of Brandenburg, west of Mockport there, along the river here, you can see that red polygon. This is until 10:30 Central Time. So that is for portions of Meade County there, and also it looks like it's moving out of Breckenridge County, but then you still have warnings on the backside of this as well for that particular cell that we're watching. So
that's right, because that's the one that was confirmed, the one to the southwest.
Right.
That's so this is not just one and done. You got two to go. So the one that's near Davies County by the Owensboro area, that's also going to move in there. But I was just going to mention really quick, Mallory, is that storm relative velocity, so we look at the greens and the reds together, that is really maxed out northwest side of Irvington.
Oh yeah, there you see it.
Hit the deck, folks. If you're in New Amsterdam, you're in Alton, you're on the west side of Mockport, that is a very strong radar signature. Please take shelter. Please take shelter. This is the time to execute your plan now.
Andyville.
Yep.
You're included in this tornado warning. Please head to the lowest level of your home. Get away from those windows until this has passed. Unfortunately, we do have another storm on the backside of that we're still watching as well. You can see, once again, Cloverport included in that. This is Tell City over to Owensboro. And this is all moving in the same general direction toward the northeast here. And they're moving pretty quickly, these single cells here, as opposed to that main line that we're watching off to the west. But this storm system, it's producing some impressive storms in terms of wind speeds and also in terms of the rotation that we're seeing and these severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings that have been issued. And you'll notice as time goes along, kind of the southwestern edge of these warnings being kind of cut away because the storm motion is moving in that northeastern direction here. So we have all the fuel for thunderstorms. You'll have noticed today was very windy, very warm, very humid. We had the instability. We have the shear in place, we have the lifting mechanism, we have a cold front that's driving all of this, and we have a lot of moisture to tap into in the atmosphere here. So on the backside of the severe threat, you have the flash flood warning in place, and that will also be a threat as we continue into tonight and the days to come as well. So how long does this severe thunderstorm warning last in place? Of course, it's probably going to continue to extend
44
eastward.
minutes.
Okay, so it's a long one. They issued that really along the line, which is a smart move there, because as we mentioned, at the very least, we're expecting very strong winds out of this. At the very most, unfortunately, we've been seeing those signs of rotation here within the embedded tornado warnings that we do have in place.
So I was just looking at the radar for the precipitation. They're getting a 1 to 2 inch rainfall. Some of the bigger ones that go through are over 2 inches per hour. They're issuing a lot of flash flood warnings to the west that will progress to the east, where you will be issuing a lot. There will be a lot of flash flood warnings across the metro, to the west of the metro. That will all move east. The biggest threat for flash flooding and severe weather right now go from Meade County down towards Owensboro. That stuff continues to train across the same area. It's going to move off to the northeast. So that means you not only have the wind threat, the tornado threat, lightning, and flash flooding. All good reason to seek your shelter. That storm continues to show rotation northwest, west side of Brandenburg. Have your plan of action now.
Yes, and once again, these storms are going to continue to last as we go into the remainder of our evening. So here's the latest from the National Weather Service regarding this tornado warning in place until 10:30 p.m. Central Time, which is 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 11 miles northwest of Hardinsburg, and it's moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. So this is a quick moving severe thunderstorm, and it is very possible that there could very well be a tornado embedded within this line, and it's continuing to travel towards the northeast. So for those of you that are included within this cone that I'm going to draw out here on the map, you'll notice that this is going to be the area that we really need to pay close attention to. These cities are going to be within this severe thunderstorm that has that potential to produce that tornado. So 10:21 p.m. Central Time near Addison, 10:28 p.m. Central Time in Ammons, Freemire, Andyville, all within the next 30 minutes. You need to be in your tornado safety place in an area where there's no windows in the central part of your home. And then as we continue to watch this storm carefully, as we go closer into midnight, it will be approaching areas of Wolf Creek, Battleton, New Amsterdam, and we're also going to see this make its way just towards the south of the Louisville metro as well. So this is a storm that we're paying close attention to. This is the one that has our biggest attention so far, because this is definitely the one that has a lot of energy, and it also has a very prime amount of fuel that it can still latch onto as we go into the next upcoming minutes here.
And we've been tracking this since it was in Ohio County, I believe.
Yes.
So it's been continuing to track to the northeast through Breckenridge, Meade, and eventually Harrison County, it looks like, in Indiana here, because it's marching to the northeastward. So the general storm movement here is this line in general is pushing off to the east, but it has that northeastward movement there. Gosh, you can see that bowing here near Masonville, just east of Masonville. So as we've been mentioning, at the very least, strong winds. At the very most, anytime you're seeing all of these little kinks along the line, some of these individual cells out ahead of the line, they are wrapping up. They're showing signs of rotation, producing potential tornadoes as well. So that is why you do want to head into your safe place. I'm expecting them to continue this warning off to the northeast, I would think.
Yeah, it's weakened on the last two scans. Yeah. I'm not sure what they're going to do. You can check on Slack. The storm that's really the new storm of interest is the big thing that's come flying out of Owensboro.
Yeah.
That thing's got rotation on the front edge, where you just pointed, and also on the comma head. If you go to the comma head, it's wrapped around on the north side of Owensboro. It's wrapped on the east side. That's going to be a problem. Guess what? Cloverport. You just heard that mentioned about 20 times. It's heading to Cloverport. It's heading to Hardinsburg. It's heading to Tell City. That is going to become the dominant storm. And folks, some good news. Paoli, Jasper, Huntingburg, you're in a rain event right now. The severe weather threat is very diminished. It's the
That's good.
storms, Owensboro, Salem, heading towards Louisville.
And unfortunately, this is taking a very similar track to that previous
Correct.
storm here. So, you know, you might have just gotten out of that one tornado warning that we were watching in Breckenridge. Of course, it began in Ohio, Breckenridge, Meade County, up into Harrison County. But this is that additional storm that John was just talking about. And you can see the notch there along the leading line. And then also he said that comma head that we're seeing there. So there's multiple signs of rotation there. Good reason why this tornado warning is in place for the next 25 minutes as this really jets to the northeast. It seems to be moving pretty quickly here. So if you were just in your safe place, Brandenburg, this could be heading in your direction here soon. Tell City, just north of Irvington, although you may be included in that extended warning if this does get extended, which it's a pretty healthy storm at this point. So please stay in your safe place until this has cleared. If we zoom out so we can see those areas that might be more so in the clear that John was mentioning, like Paoli, you're at, yes, very much a rain event at this point, because here was the main concern. Now more so Salem, Palmyra, where we do have this tornado warning that has pushed off to the east to include Henryville until 11:45 Eastern time. So that's Scottsburg, Henryville, Palmyra, Salem as well. This is a newer tornado warning that is going to take us for the next 25 minutes or so. So if you are in that polygon, I want you to head to your safe place and stay in there until this line has passed your area. So there's a lot of rain on radar. There is that main line and then those embedded little notches that we're seeing, those knobs as well, where
You see
it's
that new
tapping.
tornado warning? That's Salem over to
Yes.
Austin, Charlestown. Okay.
Yes, that was the one I was just mentioning. That's until 11:45. And how quickly is that storm cell moving?
That storm is moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. So once again, a very quick moving storm. Whenever we put the radar in motion, you'll notice just how fast it really gains some speed once it approached the city of Salem. And so as that storm really continues to travel towards the northeast, it's still going to impact north central Harrison County, and that's also northwestern Clark County, northwestern Floyd County, Scott County, and also Washington County. All of those are included within this tornado warned storm, and it is still traveling, as we said, very, very quickly. It's moving towards the northeast at 70 miles per hour, and that definitely is a fast-moving storm. And here's the cities that are expected to be within the range of it. So within the next few minutes, these cities definitely need to be in their tornado safety place at 11:24, Oregon Springs, Pekin, South Boston, New Liberty, and then by midnight, we're expecting the storm to be in Scottsburg.
And the storm out of Meade County, they have not reissued the tornado warning, but
Okay.
I'm just going to say that if you're in southern Harrison County, I'd be prepared.
Yes.
Corridon,
Yes.
all the way down to the river. That storm continues to rotate, and the weather, so it's still in the polygon barely.
Right.
I'm sure they're making a decision of what to do, but it's still rotating. Please be prepared, southern Corridon, New Middletown, New Amsterdam.
Okay. Matt, if we could zoom out and show all of the active warnings that we have in place. I always like to just give people kind of that reset, get you an idea of what we're looking at. If you're just now joining us for coverage, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell here along with Meteorologist Matt Breland and also Meteorologist John Gordon here. We are tracking severe weather for you. We cut in anytime there is a tornado warning in the Kentuckiana viewing area, and we'll be tracking quite a few of them for the past hour or so. First, originally cutting in for that storm around Orange County that continued off to the northeast there. And you can see anywhere where you're seeing the yellow or orange color here, which is a big swath of our entire viewing area, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. That is due to the strong wind gusts that we're seeing within this line. And then embedded within those, and also with a few cells that we were seeing out ahead of it, the red polygons, which were those tornado warnings. So we were watching that one to see if it was extended into Harrison County in Indiana. Good idea just to make sure you do hunker down, because even if this one doesn't get extended, we're still watching that cell on the backside of that particular one that was coming out of Owensboro. That was really packing a punch with those winds and also multiple areas of rotation that we were seeing there. And regardless, I mean, just take a look at all this rain and lightning along with it. So these are going to be very noisy storms. I'm certainly seeing it on our Scottsburg camera that we do have behind Matt this evening. And also we were starting to see some of those flash flood warnings on the backside. So once the leading line of severe weather weather is out of here, then we're still watching that flooding threat on the backside because there's so much moisture for these storms to work through here. And this entire line needs to march east, though it's slightly moving northeastward. So that's why it's a little bit slower to kind of get through here, even though the individual segments are moving pretty quickly at this point. So
the warning up to the north on Salem,
Yes.
New Pekin, Palmyra, on State Road 56, you see the rotation. There's several areas. One is near New Pekin.
Yep.
One is just north of Salem, and one is just south of Palmyra.
So
that's the first tornado warning. Let's go to the southwest. Tornado warning 2. They're barely still capturing that one warning. But once again, Southern Harrison, please be prepared.
yeah, I would say so.
And then we go into the Boeing segment, the bookend, if you will, the little curly Q.
Yeah, this.
Right, that one is that one's producing a lot of wind. Guarantee it. If you're near Tell City, Cannleton, down to Whitesville, they are going to get between 60, 70 mile an hour winds and isolated tornado on that leading edge. So you have several areas along with extremely heavy rainfall.
Yes. So this is, I mean, we have all severe weather modes, all severe weather factors in play today in terms of the very strong winds, heavy rainfall, flooding threat, and also these embedded tornadoes that we've been watching. And it looks pretty messy on radar, which it can be with these line segments that we see. You have to watch for every single notch. But anytime that you do get bowing from a storm or bowing from a line, that's how you know you do have some very strong winds with it. So that's that one that we were watching coming out of Owensboro, heading up towards Tell City, and unfortunately moving in that same direction as that previous tornado warning that should be allowed to expire here because it looks like that storm is basically moving into Harrison County at this point. But if you were in your safe place because of that particular warning, I would stay in it because once again, we are watching this storm just east of Owensboro heading towards Patesville, Dukes, Cloverport. Your name is showing up again, unfortunately. I would go ahead and seek shelter because this one, at the very least, as we mentioned, packing a major punch with strong winds, and at the very most trying to show some signs of rotation there as well as it marches pretty quickly off to the northeast. You can see we have a live camera right here. Very heavy rainfall. I'm not sure where exactly this is. If our producers can let me know, is that John Humphreys?
That's John Humphreys, and right now he is exactly where you've been talking about. If we want to take that view full from John Humphreys' live camera, he is in the Corydon, Indiana area, so he's pulled off to the side of the road. Look at this driving rain. So when y'all were talking about that radar position just a minute ago, John pulled into the spot and he's off to the side. So y'all can weigh in. You're looking at some pretty good strong winds there. Where exactly is the radar position now? I mean, what's over the top of him at the moment?
Very heavy rain, wind on the Corydon side. May get some pea-sized hail. The area I'm really worried about would be southwest Corydon, maybe 8 miles. Right on the river. That area continues to rotate. Weather Service is watching it. They got a severe thunderstorm warning up right now for wind. They drop the tornado warning. That's almost out of that box there, Mallory, the one previously.
Yeah.
The storm that really gets my attention continues to be this bowing segment. If you're a hunter or a fisherman, you're bowing. This is like a bow and arrow. This bowing out, this pushing of wind. So if you're in Cannleton, Cloverport, I hate to say that town again, but you folks have had it more than once. Down to Fordsville, that's moving all east and a lot of rotation in there, a lot of heavy rain and wind. And John Humphreys, if you got reports, please send them in.
So that storm that John was just talking about, the tornado warning that will take us until 10:45 Central Time, the southwestern Perry, Hancock, west central Breckenridge, northeastern Ohio counties. So there's radar indicated rotation with that, but as we mentioned, at the very least, the velocity that we're seeing in terms of those wind speeds are very, very strong here. So we're expecting very strong winds with this, also some embedded rotation as well. So unfortunately, those areas that were just under the gun for that tornado warning that pushed off to the northeast, that storm not holding that tornado warning heading toward Corydon, but I would still expect you to stay indoors and hunker down because we do have another storm.
Here. North of New Pekin, really strong couplet on radar, extremely strong. On just east, maybe a half a mile east of State Route 60, just northeast of New Pekin. I really believe there's a tornado on the ground. Please have your shelter plan. This is heading, it's heading towards I-65 over there between Scottsburg and Vienna and Henryville. See that rotation right there?
Yes.
Just north side of New Pekin. I wanted you to be aware of that.
Yes, thank you. So this is east of Salem. As John mentioned, it'll eventually be heading toward I-65 there. It's just south of South Boston, it looks like, along 160, heading toward, once again, I-65, Underwood, Henryville. This is in this, let me put the warning on top of it.
And right now from the National Weather Service in Louisville, they are saying that their greatest concern is in Washington County, Indiana right now, near the South Boston area, which is where we've got pulled up on the map at the moment. That's definitely some strong rotation indicated.
Really strong rotation. Well, you could see on that line, if you draw almost a little upside down hook there, Mallory, that's exactly where it's at, just on the southeast side of Salem, north of New Pekin.
Yes, yes.
That rotation is very concentrated, yes, near South Boston. I would highly recommend if you are just towards the south of South Boston and near New Liberty, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now.
That's heading to Scottsburg. Folks in Scottsburg, the time is now to have your plan of action. Take your plan of action. This thing is heading towards Vienna and Scottsburg.
So here you can see the shape of this warning here. As John and Matt have been mentioning, it's pushing off to the east and northeast, heading toward I-65 at this point. This current warning will take us until 11:45, so I need you to be in a safe place for the next 15 minutes or so as this storm continues to move off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. So when they put the warning on it just a few minutes ago, this severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage was located just 8 miles southeast of Salem, and as we mentioned, moving toward the northeast at 60 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a tracker on this. Let me pull up the velocity to kind of give you exactly what we're looking at here.
Yeah, the velocity really shows that strong concentrated rotation there headed towards Scottsburg. I would say Scottsburg is in the next line of fire. Tracking it out here, 11:52 p.m. is whenever that tornado warned storm is supposed to be arriving towards Scottsburg.
That thing's really become dominant. That's what's called a line break. So if you look at the entire line, you can go from the southwest, from Greenville to Borden, and all of a sudden it breaks and it creates a little curlicue. That's where the rotation, and Matt's just mentioning about, it's moving to the northeast. Scottsburg, Vienna, I-65 is heading towards you. This is the real deal. Please execute your safety plan now.
So I just put a tracker on this just to give us an idea, but everybody in the path of this storm should, in general, just be in their safe place. So the timing here, 11:41 Underwood, 11:42 Scottsburg, 11:50 Lexington. Once again, this is Indiana, 11:55 Chelsea. So we are really paying attention to this particular area of rotation within this storm. That's just east of South Boston, heading toward New Liberty, and moving off to the northeast here at 60 miles per hour. So if I have to give you any good news, it's moving very quickly, but we are concerned with that particular tornado warning that we do have in place here now for the next 10, 15 minutes. Once again, this is including northwestern Clark, Scott, eastern Washington counties here in Indiana.
If that continues, they'll extend this. They'll take it all the way to Jefferson. If that continues, that warning will be extended, I'm sure.
So that's going to be a storm that we really do continue to watch here this evening. I'm going to put on just the warnings once again because we have several here. It's sometimes hard to see. So this one looks like a new warning that is now including New Albany and Sellersburg, Corydon.
That's that one that came flying out. Now
that one cell?
under it. Yep.
Yes. Texting me saying it is right over where he is. He just zeroed in his location. That's the video you see, Mallory, right there on our screen.
Okay.
He is in downtown Corydon, Indiana, and he said this is tornado warning now over the top of him.
Yes, so we're taking a live look from our storm chaser, John Humphreys here, our photojournalist as well. So we do have that new tornado warning that's now in place until midnight for Central Harrison, Central Clark, and also Floyd County, because we have been watching that storm capable of producing a tornado that was originally near Corydon just a couple of minutes ago. And this one is also tracking off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. So if you are in Central Harrison, Central Clark, Floyd County. If you're hearing those tornado sirens, head down to your safe place as we continue to watch this particular cell as it marches off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour this evening. So
that's that storm that came flying out of Ohio County,
yes.
went into Breckenridge, went into Meade. We talked about it even though there wasn't a warning out. Mallory and I were telling you to be prepared. And it's definitely got a hook echo on the southeast side of the storm and a nice couplet. So where John Humphreys is on the south side of Corydon, west of New Middletown, is a very good area, or bad areas when you look at it, of a tornado forming right south of Corydon, moving off to the northeast.
I've got John live here on the phone. He's going to speak right now. John, we're watching your picture. Describe the scene there in Corydon. Well, looks like we lost him. We'll get him back here.
Well, another thing, too, these storms are starting to knock on the doors of New Albany.
Yes.
That is expected to arrive in the next few minutes as well, along with Jeffersonville. 11:45 to 11:50 is whenever we're really expecting these storms to arrive into those heavy populated areas. And then it won't be much longer before this line of storms starts to arrive into the Louisville metro as well. So we all need to be making sure that we're designating our safety place, because it is going to be a very loud, as Chief Meteorologist Mallory said earlier, it is going to be a very loud setup. These storms have a lot of lightning in them.
John's back on the phone. John, describe the scene. We're watching your live picture right now from Corydon.
Doug, the wind's picking up quite a bit right now. Rain's heavy, as you can see. I'm just north of the circulation of the new tornado warning in Corydon. And I'm probably going to head a little bit east now to try to stay out of that circulation.
Since you've been there for the last few minutes, has it dramatically changed? We've been showing your live video here for a little bit, but now that you're on, have you noticed a big change?
Yes, the wind and the rain have picked up quite a bit. The lightning has not been too big. Normally, when you have an increase in, upper tornado or severe storms, the lightning increases. I haven't seen a whole lot here in the last few minutes.
Y'all have any questions for John?
No, you're in the right spot. You see the same circulation. Stay safe.
Yes, please stay safe.
All right, John Humphreys, WHS 11 storm chaser. He is in Corydon, Indiana, giving us that report. John, we'll check back in with you a little later. Thank you.
Let's go through the tornado warnings really quick from the north to the south. That continues to show rotation. Scottsburg, Vienna, I-65. That is the primary on the northern warning. If you're west of there, you're probably out of the threat west of Little York. We come back to the southwest. We just talked to John Humphreys. That storm is going to pass on the southeast side of Corydon, heading towards New Middletown and Lanesville and Georgetown, maybe even New Albany. We'll see how that goes. Everyone execute your plan. Further to the southwest is that mess that Mallory's been going over with that line. That, once again, can you believe it? Cloversport again, Hardinsburg, up towards Leopold. There's several areas. The really strong wind is east of Cannleton, south of Leopold. The radar's showing almost 80 miles an hour at 4,000 feet. So there's a lot of wind being translated down and a lot of heavy rain there, Mallory.
Yes, that's right, John. So we're tracking a lot of different hazards this evening. We're tracking the wind threat, we're tracking the tornado threat, and we're tracking that heavy rainfall threat as well. So this latest tornado warning that we just saw John Humphreys in, once again, this includes Clark, Floyd, and Harrison counties. As we're watching this rotation, this started around Ohio County, then jetted up toward Breckenridge and Meade County, and is continuing to track northeastward pretty quickly. So what we're watching is this little notch here just south of Corydon. And as is, you can see the track of the storm based on the shape of the polygon. So it is moving off to the northeast. It is potentially heading toward New Albany as we continue to watch this scan here. So if you are in portions of Clark, Floyd, Harrison County, this tornado warning will take you until midnight tonight. And then off to the north, we've been tracking that additional tornado warning as well. So we have let's just put the warnings here in play.
Mallory,
yes.
The newsroom just talked to the Harrison County Sheriff's Department. They are confirming possible rotation near the Lanesville, Indiana exit on mile marker 113 of I-64. That's just into the newsroom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That's a really good report. Yeah, that storm continually wraps around. So I'm kind of concerned about I-64, the travelers. The travelers on I-65. So you have a tornado warning on I-65 up near the Scottsburg, Vienna, Henryville area. You have another one that's approaching I-64 just south of Corydon, heading to Lanesville. All these areas, travelers, slow down, turn around, don't drown.
Could you fill this up? And another report that we have in from the National Weather Service in Louisville, there is power out in Salem. Debris from high winds are on the roadway of Main Street at Mulberry in Salem. So we are starting to get some damage reports in from these storms. So these are definitely damaging storms, without a question.
That camera you're showing of Scottsburg there, Matt, is unbelievable. Is this getting ready to move into Louisville like this?
That storm is going to pass just to the north of us. Our storm for Louisville, yes. That storm that's coming out of Corydon is going to straddle. They've got that box pretty tight up against Louisville. It will go up towards New Albany. But the one that's going to get Louisville is the one that's coming out of Cloversport, Hardinsburg, Irvington. That will move off and get into the Louisville metro for sure. The worst case on that one Corydon storm is it could hit the farthest northwest part of Louisville, Sellersburg, Floyd's Knobs. Please have a plan of action. This stuff is serious, and I'm really concerned about the Lanesville area right now.
What's the timing on that, Mallory, for Louisville?
For Louisville, so we're watching this storm that's off to our southwest in terms of Louisville. So this particular storm that we're watching near Corydon, New Albany, that's moving right now. But this storm that's down near Brandenburg, New Amsterdam, Leavenworth, this is that tornado warning that if it continues on this track, it would be heading toward Louisville. So we can put a tracker on this right now. Let's see the certain specs of this. So it is moving, let's see, east at 75 miles per hour. Geez. Okay, so, and then the storm on this side as well is moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. So these are moving very quickly.
Yes.
So if I put a general tracker on this, some of these are moving east, some of these are moving northeast. So this isn't, you know, a foolproof method here. Let me actually put 70 miles per hour.
So they put a new severe out as you're calculating. So what they did is they took the stuff east of Henryville and Scottsburg. That goes and covers all of our DMA, covers up into Jefferson County, Madison, Clifty Falls. Love going to Clifty Falls. And that whole line, that will covers the severe. We got a severe now on Louisville. Louisville for the severe thunderstorm warning, all south. Like I said, that tornado warning is going to straddle the Louisville metro. The Weather Service just put a severe out that covers at least the north part of that. But if you look to the southwest, that is going to get into Louisville for sure, Mallory.
Yeah, so this is what I just put a track on here. So these storms are moving east, but also northeast, really depending on which notch you're looking at and which particular storm. And this just gives you a general idea. Don't take it as gospel. Obviously, if you're included in a tornado warning, I want you in your safe place for it regardless. But this kind of gives you an idea. 1150 for Brandenburg, 1159 for Fort Knox. Shepherdsville would be 1210, 1219 for Fern Creek. This is that southwestern storm that we've been watching with the very high winds and also the several certain areas of circulation. And then on that north side, that's where we're dealing with that New Albany storm. So Matt, if you could maybe zoom out for us and once again give us that general idea of the different storms that we're seeing. You might want to also clear out the tracker that I just put on this particular storm here. So I know there's a lot going on the radar. We're trying to walk you through each little segment that we're watching. Anytime you do get a squall line like this, it's always really tricky because you have the main line, and then within that main line, you're watching all of these little notches here that's triggering all of these tornado warnings. And that's exactly what we're seeing tonight. A very active radar here. And as we've been mentioning, a lot of heavy rainfall and lightning along with it. So we have a few tornado warnings currently in southern Indiana. We also have a few, once again, that are tracking over the same areas here that we've been watching for Breckenridge, Meade County as well. And then this one that's moving from Harrison County and continuing to Floyd County and off to the north along I-65. So we have a few individual areas that we're really paying attention to. And as we mentioned, if you're traveling I-65, I-64, this is a big issue as we are seeing those areas of rotation in especially southern Indiana right now. and this one particular segment that's also around Hardinsburg and Brandenburg as well.
If I could jump in real quick there,
Yeah, of course.
is
Please
that storm by Lanesville.
Yes.
So the one John Humphrey's on, the lightning has jumped significantly.
Okay.
And you see a hook echo right there on the backside, a pendant at least. So that would be on the south side of Lanesville.
Right here.
Yeah, you can point to it right now. That's the one. That storm bears watching. If you live in the Lanesville area, that is a very dangerous storm. Right there where she sees the curlicue, right?
Yep. Yep. Anytime you see that, you know something is trying to wrap up here. So this, on its track, you can see it's moving northeastward. So if you are in this tornado warning, that includes Floyd's Knob, that includes New Albany, and that will eventually include Sellersburg as well. You want to get into that safe place because we're really watching that one closely. This is until midnight.
That's the storm of the moment right now.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that bears the most watching. That's going to come extremely close to Jefferson County.
Yes.
Folks in New Albany, execute your plan now. It's going to split the difference between Georgetown and New Albany, come across on southern Indiana right there. That storm is the storm to watch the most right now.
So it's pretty much right over Lanesville as we speak, heading towards Floyd's Knobs within the next 10 minutes, it looks like. New Albany as well, Blackiston Mill. So get in your safe place, stay in it. Sellersburg, if it continues onward in your direction, it would be just after midnight. So if that holds together, we'll likely continue to see the continuation of that particular tornado warning as well. So a lot of these storm segments are marching off to the northeast, and then that general storm motion is off to the east with that line that we've been watching as well. And we're starting to hear some thunder here in downtown Louisville. We are included in a severe thunderstorm warning, right, guys?
That is correct.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. yes, we are.
So is this storm going to roar into Louisville as strong as we've been watching it in southern Indiana? It seems southern Indiana's really taken the brunt of this so far. Is this going to come into Louisville just as powerful, Mallory?
Well, on its current track, it does look like it's just going to be just north if it really clips any of our area, because it is moving northeastward. So New Albany definitely in the path of it. Downtown Louisville potentially. But what we're more focused on for the Louisville area is there's another storm off to our west and southwest. That big Boeing 7 that we've been watching that's really packing a punch with some heavy winds and also all these notches as well. This is around Hardinsburg, Irving, Brandenburg, moving more eastward. That's what we'll really watch moving towards if it does hang together.
That's the one Doug's going to get Louisville.
Yeah, this
You
one.
just pointed right. See that little bow echo right there?
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
Brandenburg, that's coming to Louisville.
I think it's a good time to remind our viewers they were tuning in and we're just before midnight thinking, hey, this is moving through Indiana pretty fast in Louisville. I can go to bed. Don't go to bed just yet, because as they have just been telling you, our chief meteorologist Mallory Schnell, meteorologist John Gordon, and meteorologist Matt Breland here with us tonight. We still have more to go right into Louisville. And what's your timing on that moving through Louisville, Mallory? The one that's down hugging the Ohio River down to southwest.
Right. So Matt Breland just put a tracker on this. It looks like Brandenburg, 11:49. Then we have Fort Knox just after midnight. If we're talking portions of Valley Station and Louisville as well, it's going to be just after midnight as well, 12:05 or 12:10. So Louisville, we're currently included in a severe thunderstorm warning, but we really have to watch this tornado warning off to our west. That's cutting into Brandenburg as we speak, because on its track, it'll be heading into the Louisville metro area here within the next 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, can you put a track on that one cell east of Lanesville there, Matt? That's the storm to really hone in on. It's just on the west side of New Albany. I don't know every little nook and cranny there, but I love New Albany. Folks, that's got a really strong signature of wind and a couplet of a possible tornado. It would be, to me, halfway between Lanesville and New Albany.
Yes.
There you go.
We can see it
Absolutely,
right here.
yeah, definitely watching this area very closely. That is a very healthy couplet, which is what we call it whenever we see it on this velocity map. You'll notice the colors. Whenever you see red and green opposing each other in that spiral pattern, that's a great indication that there's strong rotation happening near the surface. And yes, that is knocking on New Albany's door. Definitely, if you live in New Albany or Floyd Knobs or near Portland, Clarksville, definitely need to be in your safe place right away. That is a great indication that there is some strong rotation occurring in that region.
That's the one to really watch. That thing's trucking off to the northeast. at a very good clip, moving at 60 to 70 miles an hour. That's going to straddle the polygon. The warning you see right there, that's going to go up towards the knobs just south of Sellersburg. It's going to cross Interstate 65. We're back to traveling again.
Yep. Yeah, this is one of those nights where you want to stay inside, guys, because we're tracking just several segments of this storm system, packing a punch at the very least with strong winds, heavy rainfall, frequent lightning. At the very most, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of those embedded tornadoes. And because of that, we still have that tornado warning in place until midnight tonight. And if it continues, which is looking pretty healthy, that will continue to be extended off to the northeast as well. So New Albany, Floyd's Knobs, you need to be in your safe place. This is continuing towards Clarksville. Eventually, it could be cutting over 65 just south of Sellersburg as well. So that's what we were seeing with this big red polygon through southern Indiana as we speak with this particular tornado warning that we are watching.
That's got 9 minutes left on it. I'm quite certain they'll extend that thing.
It will extend it, yes.
So
path that it's been on.
So there's the path of the velocity, and you'll notice how it really just turns into a very well-pronounced couplet of rotation as it goes right into New Albany.
Yeah, and that's right by all the major interstates.
Yes.
That's a very bad place.
65, 265,
please
64.
Be careful if you're out on the road. Please be careful.
We have a new report just in from the newsroom about Lanesville.
Yep.
Lanesville, Orange County authorities confirming one house has been set on fire from the storm. Orange County currently sitting at 1,970 power outages as well. And right now, I encourage everybody, this storm is getting ready to move into Louisville. Right now in the metro Louisville area, we have very minor number of power outages, standing only at 63 with LG&E. It'd be a good time for you to go ahead and download our app, the WHAS 11 app. It is free to you. You can continue to watch this broadcast live and get these reports from Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, Meteorologist John Gordon, and Meteorologist Matt Breland. As this storm is moving over the knobs of Indiana, also affecting our over-the-air signal, you can continue to watch us as we stream.
Did they say anything in the chat about that storm?
So, John, about the Lanesville storm. That's pretty serious. It goes right back to the lightning that you were talking about.
Yeah, the lightning
confirming
really
a house set on
jumped
fire there.
That, Doug, and it continues to do. They've got 5 minutes left on that warning. I'm waiting to see if the Weather Service is going to do anything with that storm. It's going to straddle. It's going to hit the I-65 corridor and where all the interstate side of New Albany. I just looked at the terminal Doppler. That's the FAA radar in Mount Washington. That shows a really good couplet. You look at the Doppler weather radar out there at Fort Knox. Continues to show a nice couplet there. That storm bears watching. It's going to approach I-65, just Sellersburg, right along the knobs, right there. And then we've got the Boeing Echo, which has got all kinds of rotation along the leading edge. Folks like Leavenworth and New Amsterdam, folks in Mockport, Brandenburg, Ekron, just past you, Irvington. And those are the main 3 storms we're watching, along with all the heavy rain. So I'm sure it is pouring out there. Please drive safe if you're on the highway.
Yes. So if you're just now joining us, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell here with Meteorologist Matt Breland and John Gordon as well. We're having some technical difficulties, but we know you can still hear our microphones. So if you're hearing us give out your area of town, we do want you to seek shelter. It does look like they just extended that tornado warning, I believe.
Did it just come out?
Yes. So the one that now includes portions of Jefferson County and also Bullitt County here. So that same Bow Echo area. And there we go.
It's out. That's on the Boeing segment. They have not extended the northern one yet.
What specifically is this for?
This covers the Louisville Metro. This is going to cover West Point, Valley Station, Pleasure Ridge Park, PRP, Audubon Park. Basically, most of everyone except the far eastern part of Jefferson County.
And which direction? Because, John, we need to be real specific since we're waiting to get our video back.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's moving to the east-northeast. The worst of the storm right now is on the leading edge of Brandenburg. That's going to continue towards Laconia. Folks in Laconia, get your plan of action. And West Point, Valley Station, Elizabeth, PRP, Shively. Then it's going into Fairdale. It's moving to the northeast at 60 to 70 miles an hour. That means it's going to be here before you know it.
Yes. So
give some of the roadways, some of the markers. Let's be real specific here.
Okay. Coming out of there between Fort coming up there to the Gene Snyder. Before you know it, it'll be on the Gene Snyder 31 heading towards Valley Station. The Waterson will be there in 10 minutes. Continue to go to the east, all toward Louisville Airport's going to get this. It's all moving to the northeast at 60 to 70 miles up on I-71. This is going to be straddling you. Goshen, this is heading towards you. Have a plan of action in Goshen. Charlestown, Owen, it's heading towards Bethlehem. It's heading to Bedford, as you just heard, Campbellsburg. That's the northern warning. Second warning is that Boeing segment that's right in Brandenburg right now as we speak. It's moving off to the northeast. It will be out there by the Doppler weather radar at Fort Knox, Laconia, West Point, Valley Station, PRP in the next 10 minutes. And then you know it'll be in Louisville Metro from Shively to the airport, down to Shepherdsville, the I-65 corridor in about 14 minutes. So be there before you know it. Have a plan of action. Be prepared. We have 2 tornado warnings in the metro. The north one, Sellersburg, Charlestown right now, moving to the northeast towards Owen, Goshen, Bethlehem, etc. And the one to the south is got rotation all over the place on the leading edge of the line. Really bad between Laconia, Brandenburg, Muldrow, and out towards Fort Knox.
Yes, and it looks like the first city within the Louisville Metro that's going to see this impact of this bow approaching is going to be Valley Station. That is right where the bow is shaping up, and I'm expecting that to arrive into Valley Station within the next 30 minutes. That is within this tornado warned storm. Yep. That's in for Bullitt County, Harrison, Jefferson, Meade County. All of those counties are in this tornado warned storm, and those winds are definitely going to be the most impactful. We're expecting damage to occur with these. This is going to be a very quick moving storm. So once again, this includes Bullitt County, Harrison, Jefferson, Meade County, and that's going to be impacting Valley Station pretty soon. This is the storm that we've been keeping a close eye on outside of Brandenburg. That's had a lot of energy with it, and it is still traveling very quickly. So whenever we track this out, moving at 75 miles per hour is what the latest from the National Weather Service has said, that it's traveling this quick. And we're expecting it to arrive into Elizabeth here within the next 5 minutes. And then Valley Station, 12:12 a.m. is whenever expected to arrive, 12:20 a.m. for Shepherdsville. So if you're within any of those cities that I just named, to make sure that you are in your severe weather safety area in a central part of your home, away from windows. These storms are moving very quickly. Within the next 20 minutes, they will be arriving into the Louisville Metro.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have the 2 storms. One is a supercell on the north side. That's the Sellersburg storm, if you will, south side of Charlestown, moving off to the northeast. Folks on the north side of Goshen, along the river, Utica, Owen. Then it'll be up there in Bedford, Campbellsburg, I-71. Extremely heavy rain, a big prolific lightning producer, and it looks like what we call a hook echo, a little pendant on the southeast side of the storm. Then you have the Boeing echo, the one that's right over, approaching the Fort Knox right now. I mean, there's a good bow that Matt just alluded to. That's a lot of wind in there, 70, 80 miles an hour with a tornado threat on the leading edge. Please execute your plan of action.
Let's, since our engineers are working very hard to get our video back, let's reset also now Metro Louisville. Do we believe there's a tornado on the ground anywhere in the metro area right now?
Not yet, but approaching. There's that storm that's coming close to the metro that the far southwestern part of the county would be under a threat in the next 4 to 5 minutes. It will be there.
And so, Mallory, Metro Louisville is under the tornado warning for how much longer?
This is until 12:30. So this does include, it's heading toward West Point, just north of Fort Knox, Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Hillview, Okolona, Fern Creek, Buchel, Fairdale. This takes us into much of the Louisville metro area, includes the airport, Germantown, Shively, Iroquois Park, PRP, Valley Station. We're downtown Louisville and my phone went off. So we're included in that polygon here. So I want you to head down into your safe place here. Stick with us. This Boeing segment does clear through the area because it's moving very quickly. That's the good news, but that means you need to get in your safe place now because we've been watching this line segment with very strong winds and having a lot of notches and areas of rotation. So we have those two main tornado warnings that we're watching. One is in southern Indiana that's heading really towards Charlestown. Looks like it's just south of there, that hook there. New Washington, Bedford eventually. That is the one tornado warning that's off to the north. That is until 12:30. So both tornado warnings that we currently have in place for the Kentuckiana viewing area are around the Louisville metro area and into southern Indiana. This will take us for the next 25 minutes here.
So real quick, on the west side of Goshen, there's a very, very strong sign of a tornado. Northwest side, probably on the river, south side of Charlestown. Let's go to the Louisville metro, as Doug just mentioned. Jefferson County sticks way out to the southwest, goes along where all the industrial business is. Right there by West Point is a good indication of a leading edge tornado near West Point along the river, and that will be just south of Valley Station probably in the next 3 minutes. Be prepared to take your action right now. Take your action if you're in Shively, PRP, Valley Station, out towards West Point.
Again, these are the worst kind of storms we have to talk about. It's the overnight hours. We hope you're staying up with us. We are working very hard to get warning for a lot of Metro Louisville. What are some of the key roadways? Again, I'd like to emphasize that for folks until we can get our video back there, John.
Okay, so north of 42, you're on the north side, just barely north of 42 in Goshen, heading towards Owen. Just along and north by half a mile. South of Charlestown, heading towards Bethlehem. North of 42, strong, strong, strong indication of a tornado on the ground between Goshen and Charlestown. Further to the southwest, if you go along 31 out there by West Point, folks, that thing's on the river right now, and there's a good indication of rotation of a couplet on right there, Matt, right there by West Point.
Yep.
So that's all moving off to the northeast.
And that's going to be heading close to, I would say, the Gene Snyder eventually,
Gene Snyder.
Heading towards 65 in that general direction because it's all pushing east and northeast. So it's coming out of West Point and moving off to the east-northeast. So it'll be getting closer to Valley Station, Fairdale, Okolona first as it continues to track eastward there, it looks like.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that if you live in Valley Station, anywhere along Highway 31 West or on Highway 841, or just towards the south of PRP, Highway 31 West. If you live anywhere on Highway 31 West, then I would definitely recommend getting in your safe place right now, especially if you're near Meadow Lawn. This storm that has been showing signs of rotation, it's starting to become more healthy with that rotation, and it's continuing to move towards the northeast, once again towards Meadow Lawn, Valley Station, Fairdale, anywhere along Highway 31 West, Highway 1230 as well, close to Fairdale, Highway 841. If you're anywhere along those highways, that is definitely an area where you need to be in your safe place right away.
And that storm, let's do highways for the storm on the north storm, southeast side of Charlestown. That's Charlestown State Park, US 62, over towards Rolling Hills, Vesta, north of the river, all along 62, and then it will cross over the Ohio. And then the threat goes over to 42 and 421 in Trimble County over towards Carrollton. So the threat basically is north of 42, and your north point is Highway 62. Then the south storm, I think the Gene Snyder is a good anchor point. The Gene Snyder over by West Point, all in that area, a really good indication of that Boeing egg or the little nudge is there on the leading edge by West Point. I think that's a strong indication of a tornado right there, Mallory.
Yeah, I agree with you. So once again, we have 2 tornado warnings that we are tracking. We're trying to get our signal back for you, but these will last for the next 20 minutes here. So we've been tracking that one in southern Indiana from Sellersburg. It's also crossing into areas like Goshen, as John Gordon mentioned, and heading toward Bedford, New Washington, Charlestown included in that. that. And then the one storm that the couplet is now around West Point, and it's pushing off to the east, heading toward portions of Bullitt and, of course, Jefferson County as well. So your phone alarm or your phone might have gone off with the warning here, because it does include a good chunk of the Louisville metro area for the next 20 minutes. So you want to go ahead and head into your safe place. Seeing some good signs of rotation here, and also it's a very quick hitting storm moving off to the northeast very quickly here this evening.
Yeah, that storm, let's go to West Point again. So I looked at the terminal Doppler out of the FAA there, and there's a really strong wind push in West Point showing 72 miles an hour just off the surface. And you have that little rotational couplet on the leading edge that Mallory was just talking about. Let's go up to the Goshen storm. This continues to show a little notch, a little pendant, or almost a baby hook between Goshen and Owen on US 62, north of 42, heading towards Bedford. Two really good areas for rotation. Please execute your safety plan if you're in these towns.
And it does look like I have my weather wall back up. I'm not sure if that's going out to program right now, but if you're just now joining us, Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell here with meteorologist Matt Breland and also meteorologist John Gordon. We have Doug Profit in the studio as well, and we're tracking 2 tornado-warned storms here in the Louisville metro area. Thank you for bearing with us. Sorry for those technical difficulties that we have been seeing so far this evening, but once again, we have 2 severe thunderstorms that are producing tornado warnings as we speak. And we've been tracking them along with you this evening. So we're going to zoom into the cell that we've been watching in southern Indiana, and also just across the river around Goshen and Prospect. So you can see this particular tornado warning that is continuing off to the northeast. It includes Bedford as well. You can see right along the river there, heading toward Campbellsburg as well. So this one is for another 20 minutes or so, 18 minutes. Until 12:30, and then for the Louisville Metro one, we've been watching that rotation right around West Point, and this has been moving off to the northeast pretty quickly as well. You can see it's right over that radar site right there. But we're watching the bowing and the notches within that particular segment as it marches off to the east and northeast. And this warning is also until 30. So if your phone went off in the Louisville metro area, it is for this particular storm that's continuing to march eastward, heading toward eventually I-65 and also the Gene Snyder as well in that general direction here.
I've been in contact with Louisville Metro Emergency Services just moments ago. So far, no damage reports coming in the metro area, which is good news.
The storm in the metro is looking more intense south of Valley Station in the southwest part of the county, southwest of Fairdale. Fairdale, folks, be prepared to seek shelter. If you're in Valley Station, Fairdale, Holly Villa, on the north side of Hillview, you see a definite little, you guys see that? The little notch that's forming? The little nub?
Yep.
The nub just formed. That's where a tornado would be. Point where that is, right there.
Yep.
Little nub.
I don't know if you all can pop me up on the green wall just yet. I know we're getting everything back here, but I might be able to circle it on our radar. Let's do that. So I'm going to hop over here and show you all what we're talking about.
Barrelton, right there, that little nub right there. Yep. That's a good indication of a tornado right there.
Yep. So anytime we see, when we talk about the knobs, the notches, the whatever word you want to use here along these lines, you can see just south of Valley Station here. This is moving east-northeast, so Fairdale, Iroquois Park, Okolona, Butyl, Fern Creek, please get in your safe place as we continue to track this tornado warning with you. This will take us until 12:30, so about for the next 15 minutes or so as it really marches off to the northeast.
That's a really good indication on radar right there.
So is this going to sweep through most of the county in its direction right now?
Yes.
Yes, it's moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. So being that it's in the southwest kind of corner of Jefferson County right now, we need...
Almost going to straddle the Snyder for a while.
So folks in central Louisville, south central Louisville, St. Matthews, eastern Jefferson County, they need to get ready. This is coming your way?
Yes.
Yes. Have a plan of action. Now, what's happened on the north tornado warning, it's changed a little bit, Mallory. It's become a bowing segment.
Right.
So you see another tornado threat. You see 2 areas. One would be 3-4 miles south east of Goshen, and the other up towards Owen. It is definitely a threat. as you move off to the east towards Bedford and Campbellsburg. I just got a report from John Belsky. Tornado went aloft right over our house. We are safe. We heard it. No damage that we know of. We definitely heard the roar. Only damage we heard so far is a transformer on State Street that exploded.
Oh, wow.
And there's a report out, this is from the chat in the National Weather Service of Louisville. Floyd County Emergency Management has said over 13,000 are without power in Floyd County. That includes New Albany.
Charlestown now coming in with reports of the same there, Matt. Much of Charlestown without power too as well, parts of it at least.
Yeah, power lines are being reported down 6500 block Ashley Springs Court in Charlestown. That is another damage report that we're seeing.
So if you go back to the Louisville storm, let's look at there and try to zoom in. Definitely see the nub, let's use that word, the nub on the leading edge of that line.
Yes, this one
Strong
right here.
indication of a tornado, folks, right there.
Right there on the Snyder.
Yeah, right there along the Snyder, Valley Station area. Right there, that's where she circled, right there. That's where you need, that's where a tornado is. If there's going to be one, it surely looks good on radar. And that will straddle the Gene Snyder for several miles as it moves off to the east. I think you got to move into 60. Is that right?
Yes, 60 miles per hour is the current speed on that storm.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you go up on the storm east of Charlestown. That's becoming a Boeing segment. So the tornado threat would be right along 42, heading towards Campbellsburg. Campbellsburg and Bedford and that's and next thing you know, that will be out of our viewing area as it moves off to the northeast. But the Louisville Metro right now, folks, this is the real deal. Right now we have a...
I want to give folks any false hope in that, and we shouldn't lower our alarm for the next few minutes as this thing moves toward Jefferson County. The folks in Oldham County, because we've been talking about Goshen and that, they're really sitting and waiting at this one. They want to see what is coming through Jefferson County, but right now they're saying so far so good. But again, that is still on the approach to Oldham County. Is that the way you're reading it right there, Mallory?
Right. So we had this one storm that was clipping portions of Goshen and those surrounding areas. That was our southern Indiana storm that really impacted areas like New Albany. That has continued to push off to the northeast and is somewhat weakening. But this particular storm that we're watching here with the notches that are moving right over Jefferson County here. You can see it's right over 65, it looks like, as it continues to track eastward here. I'm going to zoom in on that so we can take a deeper dive at that storm. But this is about to be out of its box right now, so I'm waiting for that extended warning here as it trucks eastward, heading toward Butyl and Fern Creek as well. You need to be in your safe place right now. On the backside of that, we're getting some, of course, calmer weather, but this is the main segment that we're really watching at this point.
Yeah, and the winds within that storm, Mallory, as I said earlier, you know, just because it as well, since it is a tornado-warned storm, it definitely needs to have a lot of attention drawn to it, but there's possibly 85-mile-per-hour wind gusts just within the actual thunderstorm itself. Whenever we look at the velocity there and then we see that wind gust on the leading edge of that storm specifically is containing winds between 70 and 80 miles per hour. So we're talking over hurricane force winds happening there just along I-65 South, just towards the south of the metro, pretty much in between Valley Station and Fern Creek.
Right, so you can see I put the velocity in motion just to kind of show you. We were watching this around Brandenburg, West Point as well. It's surging east and northeastward, heading really right over, as we've been mentioning, the Gene Snyder and right over I-65 at this point. Basically, all you need to know is we're seeing very bright colors on this velocity here. So that means very strong winds in place heading toward Fern Creek at this point, Bardstown Road there, and then eventually it's going to be heading closer to Fisherville and those surrounding areas as well.
The last couple scans, it looks like more of a wind maker.
Yeah.
It does not have that rotation
Couplet.
that it had. And I'm waiting to see what the Weather Service is going to do. If
So
they're
they're making that decision right now, probably.
They're still in the process of making that decision.
It looks like they've extended this as a severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay, that would be my move if I was in the seat. It's definitely changed from it was out in Fairdale and out in the southwest. The storm also, for real quick, for the folks then towards Bedford and Campbellsburg, that has definitely decreased. That's a wind and rain maker and lightning. That's some good news. Before you know it, you're going to be in the clear. Folks in Charlestown and Goshen and everything. And the west side, I think you're already free, Charlestown. The main threat is what they're going to do with this storm that's in the eastern part of the tornado warning that's over towards Fern Creek.
Right. So this is that tornado warning that we were watching here, where we were seeing those signs of rotation around West Point, Valley Station. It was heading over I-65. And as we just mentioned, we were wondering if they were going to continue to extend this tornado warning east. And there we go. They did for portions of it. So outside of where that tornado warning was extended, so this is pretty much where that area of rotation was. But at this point, maybe they're being better safe than sorry. At the very least, we're tracking potential wind gusts of 70 miles per hour. That's what that severe thunderstorm warning is issued for. So I do want to keep in mind that damaging winds can do, of course, just as much of a threat, damaging straight line winds as a lower end tornado. So you certainly want to take those seriously as well. So it does look like we just got that extension there.
Until 1 a.m.
Okay.
1 a.m., okay. Yeah, that rotation on the last scan, there's two areas. You see there, Mallory? One's over Fern Creek. Another one's just east of Hillview. All that's moving off to the northeast at a good clip. Folks in Jeffersontown, Middletown, Anchorage, you need to execute your plan. You need to execute your plan now. Tornado warning in effect till 1 a.m. And that goes up towards Eminence in Newcastle in Henry County.
Yes. So we have a new tornado warning. This is an extension of the one that we were watching. It's a little bit thinner than the one that we were watching because originally we had portions of Bullitt County included in that, but really the rotation that we were seeing was cutting right through Jefferson County there, basically between the Gene Snyder and it seems like the Watterson, passing over 65, and then they've continued to extend that once again northeastward. So this is a new warning that we're watching. Fern Creek, J-Town, Anchorage, heading eventually toward Eminence here. This is now until 1 o'clock this morning. And even if you're not included in that, look, the previous warning, of course, got to be chipped away. So that storm system continues to push off to the northeast. And now we have more of that clearing pretty much on the west side of I-65 there in the Louisville metro area, because this is now what we're watching as it continues to track off to the northeast. This bigger box here, this is for wind gusts 60 to even up to 70 miles per hour. So that's your severe thunderstorm warning that is still in place as well at this point.
So if you go to the radar real quick, you go to the radar, you can see another nub forming in the J-Town area. So if you're in the J-Town area right now, you can see another rotational couplet forming. Please seek shelter. See that little nub right there?
Yep.
There you go.
And viewers are telling me their phones in the east end are going off. Ours are not here in downtown Louisville. But it's interesting as they extended that, that it looks like a very narrow sort of targeted tornado warning is now being issued for folks who live further east off into the next county.
People in that box on east
Shelby and Oldham.
County.
Yep. Right. So this is, Fisherville, Simpsonville. This is right over
right
J-Town. Yep.
Two areas of nubs between Jefferson Town and Fisherville, and a little bit further north, I-64 again.
Right. I-64. Yep. So these nubs, I mean, this is what we're watching, and this is why it's so tricky to find those areas of rotation. But that was a good call by the National Weather Service here, because we were watching some strong winds at the very least within that, and then it just taps into some of that rotation. And that's why we do have that new tornado warning. This will take us for the next 30 minutes. Once again, this is moving northeast at 70 miles per hour here. So, you know, if I have to give you good news, it should be moving in and out very quickly.
Yes, and in the Louisville metro, it appears that we are now in just the rain event of the storm. The tornado warning has now shifted further towards east of downtown, but the Louisville metro itself, this includes Germantown near the U of L campus, Clifton, the Highlands, New Albany, you know, Jeffersonville, Clarksville. We are now just in that heavy rain period with all of the activity now making its way further towards our east. So once again, again, Anchorage, Fern Creek, and also Buchel, Jeffersontown. You are now within that line of fire where those strong winds are occurring and that possible tornadic rotation.
Yeah, so this is a classic. In the old days, used to be called a line echo wave pattern. This is a quasi-linear convective system, a little squall line, and it's got these kinks and ridges and nubs. And when you see those nubs, that means air's trying to push out in front and then wrap back in. So folks, if you're along the Gene Snyder and I-64, that's one of those right now. That's an area to really focus in and seek your shelter in the eastern part of Jefferson County, heading up to Shelby and Henry County. That's the main area. If I had to pick an area right now, I'd go right between J-Town and the I-64 corridor right there.
And winds easily are gusting over 70 miles per hour within that storm, especially concentrated there, yes, on the Gene Snyder. As that continues to make its way further towards Fisherville is the next city expected to get those strong wind gusts. So if you're in Fisherville, prepare for some very intense, damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. That storm is moving once again very quickly, moving at 70 miles per hour as well.
And we've been trained in the Weather Service to issue warnings on an S-band. See the lazy S right there? You can draw the S right in it. That's how that thing's pushing air on the front side of the line and then trying to wrap itself around. And we call these spin-ups on the leading edge. And right there's a really good indication of the Gene Snyder and I-64 area right now.
Yeah, and so if you're in Fisherville, obviously if you're in the J-Town area, up to Anchorage, Simpsonville, I want you in your safe place. This is heading up toward imminence eventually. If it hangs together, you're on the far east and northeast side of this warning. This will take us until 1 a.m. So this is for the next 25 minutes at this point. I do want to give just a brief reset just to give us an idea of how things are looking area-wide. So we're going to zoom out here and give you a big picture view of this storm system. So this is that main line. You can see where the lightning is. This is the most dangerous part of this line as we speak, where you're seeing all those lightning strikes. It's tapping into all of that fuel, all of that instability as well. On the backside of that, you have a rain event at this point, and that can lead to some flooding issues. But if we're talking about the severe storms in terms of the damaging winds and also the embedded tornadoes, that is where we're seeing all of this energy right now, and where we have been seeing those tornado warned cells within this line that continues to track east, where the QLCS, as John mentioned. So at this point, it looks like we just have the one active tornado warning. We do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings, but I'm going to show exactly where those are right now without the radar to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So yes, we just have that one active tornado warning that is pushing through East Jefferson County here and moving toward Shelby County as well. So Simpsonville, just north of Shelbyville, Christiansburg, Eminence. This is where that tornado warning is currently in place for the next 25 minutes or so. And as we've been mentioning, it's moving very quickly, 60 to 70 miles per hour off to the east and northeast.
And I just got a report, roof off a house in Washington County, Indiana. Damage to a turkey facility. Been there, done that. That's not a good thing. Also Washington County. And then I want to show you, there's a really good couplet on radar in the last scan. It's right off the Blankenbaker exit on the south side of the Blankenberger exit off of I-64. Do you see that, Mallory? Do you see that little couplet right there? That is a good indication. And notice it's not right on the leading edge. It goes back up against the heavy rain on the northwest side. Another bookend. That's your word of the night, everyone, bookend.
Bookend.
So anyway, that's moving off to the northeast. That really looks like a strong couplet gate to gate on the radar right now.
Yes, so this is that storm that we're watching as we speak. It seems like a confirmed tornado. It is now a purple box. Okay, so this is for southeastern Oldham, northern Shelby, southwestern Henry, east central Jefferson County. This one particular storm that we're watching. We need you in your safe place for the next 25 minutes as this storm pushes off to the northeast here.
Gene Snyder in 64 looks really right there, right on the money, on the velocity. You can see it there right now. And they must have gone confirmed. They got a report, or there's a debris signature, and that's moving off to the northeast. So this is serious. We haven't had one of these in a while. Confirmed tornado on the ground, and that's heading off to the northeast, going into Shelby County here before you know it.
Can you Could you all circle that area? We're getting folks asking exactly where the confirmed tornado would be. You say it was highlighted in purple.
Can you go to the velocity?
Yes. I don't think. Let's see.
We're talking southeast Oldham County.
This is
it
65 at 265
There it
here.
is, right there. Just southwest of 64, that little yellow and red right there, That's it.
That's the area to really pay
So
attention to.
the Gene Snyder at 64, basically.
Yep.
And this would be where that confirmed tornado is, and it's marching off to the east and northeast. So it's going to be moving out of Jefferson County and into Shelby County here soon. And that's why we do have that tornado warning in place for the next 20 minutes here. Likely a confirmed tornado here because that did turn into a purple polygon rather than a red polygon. So this is something that we definitely want you to take seriously at this point. Get down into your safe place and stay there until this passes. Once again, we're seeing that area of rotation right around 265 and 64, the Gene Snyder and I-64 in that corridor right there. That's what you're seeing with those wind speeds that we do have circled at this point.
Yeah, I just read the warning. It's all confirmed. That's true.
Okay.
Moving off to northeast. Once you go north of the Snyder in eastern Jefferson County, Shelby, it gets pretty remote in there, but it definitely shows what we call gate-to-gate rotation, green and red coming together like your bathtub. And that's a really strong signature, legit. Take action in eastern Jefferson County. Next thing you know, it's going to be north of Simpsonville towards Pond Village.
Already moving pretty quickly.
Yep.
Looks like it's right over Eastwood at this point.
That's right. Eastwood.
Yes.
Yep.
And so it'll be moving towards Simpsonville. Simpsonville, I need you all in your safe place. And it will continue eastward from there. So putting the warning on here and show track. You
Very
can see
good
right
warning.
around Eastwood. That's where we're seeing that couplet. And this is taking us through the next 20 minutes here.
Very good warning. I told you 20 minutes ago about the S, and there you go. It's the line echo wave pattern. It wraps itself back on the northwest side. I've been hearing that for 40 years, so that's a really good warning. They trimmed it a little bit. Still moving off to the northeast. What do you got a movement on there? What are they saying, 70?
70 miles per
70
hour.
miles per hour.
And cities that are also included within this warning, as we mentioned earlier, Eastwood is right now under the main rotation spot. And then we've also got Long Run, Todd's Point, Chestnut Grove, Eminence, Christiansburg, all within the next 20 minutes. This storm is expected to be within those areas as well. So once again, Long Run, Todd's Point, Chestnut Grove, Eminence, and Christiansburg, you need to be in your safe place as well because this storm is going to continue to travel towards the northeast very quickly. And there is a possibility of a tornado within this storm.
Yep, it's all legit. That's a really good warning. Still continues on the latest scan, moving off to the northeast. It does get into rural property here very soon, which is good, but still shows it on the last scan there, Mallory.
Yes. All right. Thank you, John. And I do want to give some people the all clear because I know that's very important for your storm anxiety. So you can see that much of the Louisville proper, much of the Louisville metro now cleared from not only the tornado warning because that's continuing to push off to the east into Shelby County, but also the severe thunderstorm warning. So you can see all of the clear areas here. That does include I-65, really Fern Creek, areas westward as well, Buchel, Okolona, St. Matthews, Shively, Fairdale, Valley Station, PRP. That is now all off to your east. And at this point, we're looking at likely a rain event for us. That can lead to some flash flooding issues. But taking a look at that radar loop at this point, what we're really paying attention to is where you're seeing all these oranges, all these reds. As I mentioned before, this is that main leading edge of storms that we've been watching. So you can tell where it's bowing out just in general, that big bow there where we have that severe thunderstorm warning. And then within that bow, those notches, that purple polygon there, that is where we're dealing with that confirmed tornado here. And it's tapping into all of this moisture, all of this really fuel as it continues to track off to the east and northeastward pretty quickly. So on the backside of that main line, this is turning into a rain event, but along this main line, we're still watching for strong winds and those individual notches or those nubs that you keep hearing us talking about where it's wrapping up and really tapping into some of that shear that's causing these tornadoes to form and these tornado warnings to be issued at this point.
Can we zero back into where you believe the tornadoes?
Yes.
That's a huge population base there along US 60, right in the Eastwood area. Been a lot of growth as you head out US 60 toward Simpsonville. And I think we need to really zero in on this for a while until you folks think that we've got an all clear on this. So far, we've been trying to track in with authorities if they're getting calls coming in yet. That hasn't started yet, but it doesn't mean that it won't. Right.
So this looks like it's just north of I-64 here as we continue into Shelby County at this point.
Right on the border.
Yep. So it's moving out of Jefferson County, moving into Shelby County, and continuing off to the northeast. So this is hanging out with us for the next 15 minutes or so as it tracks northeastward, heading toward imminence.
That last scan, it got a little weaker. But the area is right on the border, and that that eastern part of the county, right up against Simpson County, just east of Eastwood.
So this is the tornado warning that we're watching. This is the one big storm that we still, obviously we have embedded severe thunderstorm warnings, but this is the one tornado warning that we are watching at this point with you all this evening. So this just started
just a few minutes ago. Well, we got the first report. Mallory, was it right there at about I-64 in the Gene Snyder? Is that where it was first coming in?
A little bit southwest of there.
Yeah.
A little bit southwest of there. Exit.
Yes, that's where we were watching that area of rotation there. So it's moving out of Jefferson County and pushing off to the northeast into Shelby County and eventually portions of Henry County as well there.
Yeah, the last couple scans, it's showing more of a linear push, which is very strong wind. It's a little bit of broader. Tornado warning continues, so it could respin up just as much as it did the first time.
And according to Vanderburgh County, significant damage near mile marker 21, half mile back of 64 eastbound. That's from Storm Chaser
Evansville.
Jonathan Chase.
I just got a report of transformer fire on Boyd Circle, and I really don't know where that is.
So at this point, local authorities are getting mostly calls about alarms going off, being triggered by the storm. This is in the area all over Jefferson County at the moment. We are waiting to see whether the radar matches up to the confirmed tornado color that it put on the screen there. That would be far eastern Jefferson County, as it was really, wasn't it? It seemed to be paralleling US 60, just sort of trucking along there through Eastwood, and then heading into would be Shelby County.
Yes. Yes, so this is that segment that we're watching right here. So you can kind of see all these little nubs that we keep talking about along that leading edge here. That's where we have to watch for those areas of rotation where we have been seeing this tornado spin up. And as we mentioned, it's a purple polygon, so at some point it was confirmed. And we are continuing to watch this as it moves off to the northeast at 70 miles per hour. So if you are included in this purple polygon, you do need to seek shelter and stick with us for the next 15 minutes as this pushes off to the east and northeast here.
Got a report of a tree down Dixie Highway at Citation Road. That's from the earlier stuff. Meanwhile, this warning continues to get closer to eminence. It's more what I call linear. It's pushing forward. It doesn't have that little S shape that it did before, but it could certainly spin up. But definitely before, there was what we call gate-to-gate rotation near the Blankenbaker exit, paralleling US 60 and the 64. I really believe there was a tornado in there. As it moved off to the northeast. Folks in Eminence, Pleasureville, Smithfield, please be prepared. Take your plan of action. This thing could recycle just as quick as it did the first time on this line that as it moves off to the east, and Matt's been showing 60, 70 miles an hour.
And if you were originally in that tornado warning in portions of Jefferson County, that is now off to your east and northeast because it's continuing into Shelby and portions of Henry County here. We have a lot of rural area, but imminence, it's headed your direction. 12:48 is the current estimated time here. Christiansburg at 12:54 as well, and we'll see how it continues to act as it pushes off to the northeast here. But we're still under this tornado warning until 1 o'clock in the morning for this particular cell that we were tracking through the Louisville metro area, eastern Jefferson County. We were still seeing that rotation around 64 and 264, and you can see how quickly it moves. We get that new radar scan in, and it's moving off to the east and northeast around 70 miles per hour. So these are very quick movers as we're watching here, and the National Weather Service has to stay on their toes and see how it's acting, if there's still some signs of rotation as we continue onward here.
Just got a report from my friend John Belsky, 3600 Good Samaritan Way near Waterston Trail, roof collapse.
Okay, now that matches up. That would be Waterston Trail, Jeffersontown.
Yep.
Louisville Metro Emergency Services also confirming to me in a text message they have wires down and one collapsed roof in J-Town. So you've got that address as what again, John?
3600 Good Samaritan Way.
Okay.
And also at the interchange of I-64 and I-265 on the Gene Snyder Freeway in Jefferson County, there is reports of damage at the interchange there.
At the interchange of
65 in the Gene Snyder?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So far, if we want to round this up, as we're getting up to 1 a.m., these are some of the first real damage reports coming in from the Jefferson County area, which makes sense. Normally, when the radar tells us that the storm is really bad over these neighborhoods, it takes a while for these reports to come in. It sometimes takes an hour or so. It seems if we had to put a total headline on this at the moment, Southern Indiana has been hit the hardest, but now we're starting to get these reports from Jefferson County. The driving video you see there, folks, if you're going to continue with us through the next few minutes, that's our John Humphreys, the storm chaser, and he right now is heading to the eastern Jefferson County locations that we've been talking about. He should be arriving in those areas here momentarily.
The last scan, too, Mallory, the very last scan, if you look at reflectivity, you're starting to see a small little bookend form just north of Shelbyville. Just north of Shelbyville on the southern part of the box. You see that?
Yep.
And that's going to be the new right there. That new impetus right there. That is what we saw earlier in Jefferson County. That's the same thing. See how that little thin slit goes around, that little nudge right there, the little knob? That's where a tornado is most likely to form. It's starting right now. Can you circle that area right there?
Yep.
Right in the southern part of that box. That's that's it. There's shebangs.
So this is moving off to the northeast.
We saw in Jefferson just a little bit ago. That's the same indication. So folks to the east, Pleasureville and Eminence, be prepared right now.
By the way, that address of 3600 Good Samaritan Way comes up as a apartment complex, the Gaslight Court Apartments. So if there's a roof collapse, there, we'll be finding that out in just a moment. We do have a WHAS 11 news crew just a little bit of ways from there, so we'll be getting reports here just momentarily.
Just got a report, Cedar Brook Drive, power lines are down.
And the storm that we're paying close attention to, it is expected to be near Eminence right around 1:05 a.m. So within the next 15 minutes, that's whenever that storm will be making its way into Eminence, the one that we've been paying close attention to with those intense winds. As well as we've said, the winds within this storm have been easily over 70 miles per hour, up to 80 miles per hour at times also. So if you are in Eminence, make sure that you are in your safe place, somewhere central, away from the windows. If you live in an apartment building, try and get yourself to the lowest floor, maybe the first floor of the stairway within those apartment buildings. And yeah, just keep that in mind that this is definitely a quick moving storm. Within the next 15 minutes, it will be making its way into Eminence, Bellevue, and Pleasureville.
It's going to be out of that box before they know it.
The power outages in Jefferson County have now soared. Just about an hour ago, we were really down to about 63 and 100. Now it's up to 3,200 plus, and it looks to me like it is scattered mostly across southern Jefferson County, southeast Jefferson County, eastern Jefferson County not really seeing the brunt of it yet, when normally that area also very hit hard. So that's where we stand at the moment. Again, a total of 3,250 customers in Jefferson County are out.
So this warning only goes for another 8 minutes, and they've got to make a decision pretty soon because it's going to be out of their box. So folks, what we've been doing all evening is it continues to move to the east. Be prepared that that warning may be extended. Don't just think that's the end. As that thing moves off to the east towards the US 127 corridor, off to the east. And then we just have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings elsewhere, don't we, Mallory?
Yes, we do. So let's regroup, show you a big picture view of what we're looking at this point. You can tell the movement of these storms and where that leading edge is based on where we're seeing all of these warnings. So we have several severe thunderstorm warnings from Litchfield over to E-Town, Bardstown, up to Frankfort, even heading up to Cincinnati as well. That's where that main corridor has been for the damaging winds, also the spin-up tornadoes. Once that's through, you kind of drop that severe weather threat, but you're dealing with the flash flooding threat that we're already seeing on the backside as well. That's what you're seeing in those green polygons at this point. So we still have this one tornado warning for the next few minutes. We'll see if that continues to be extended off to the east and northeast here. But this threat in general is continuing to push slowly but surely eastward throughout the Kentuckiana viewing area late tonight. So even if you're not in a tornado warned cell, you could still be dealing with some wind damage, power outages, tree damage as well. I'm sure we'll be cleaning up a lot and seeing more in the light of day tomorrow. But if you don't have to leave the house tonight, definitely recommend you hunker down, because we're going to be dealing with tree damage, with power lines down. And on the backside of this, as we've been mentioning, that flooding threat. So you don't want to be out on flooded roadways tonight.
And we're getting reports too, Mallory, that there's insulation debris on the Cloverleaf at I-64 interchange of I-265 across multiple lanes. So there are reports of damage from the storm that we've been keeping a close eye on.
Well, and that's the same corridor we were looking at for that velocity earlier.
That's exactly right.
The Gene Snyder and 64.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure this is one of those things where obviously we appreciate, and the National Weather Service appreciates, your damage reports, but we want those done safely, of course.
Yes.
And so if it's not safe to do so until the light of day tomorrow, we will continue to take those reports. Be sure to send them our direction so we can send them to the National Weather Service so they can keep an eye on areas that they will need to survey in the days to come here.
And there's giant severe thunderstorm warnings. They keep pushing
Very
off
large.
to the east. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, if you look at the latest radar scan, folks, if you're over there towards Eminence, my friends in Henry County, over there at Pleasureville, that's you definitely have a strong wind signature, okay? Very strong. It's starting to bow a little bit. So at least you're going to get at least 50 to 70 mile-an-hour winds, and there's rotation on that leading edge of the line. So the Weather Service is probably, I've been there many, many times, waiting to the last second of what to do. You don't want to overwarn, you don't want to underwarn, you're trying to get it right. So that's what they're doing right now.
Now, I've been in contact with authorities because we like to get that damage information from the sources right now. The South Oldham Assistant Chief Kevin Parker, I've been communicating with him about that area. He said we have one report of wires down in North Oldham, but that has been it. So far, no reports of any damage at this point. That's really good news for that part of Oldham County. Now, they're coming in from the South Oldham folks here right now. Once again, we do have crews heading out to the Jeffersontown area, Good Samaritan Way area, where there were reports of a roof collapse. Now, that address that we have is matching up to an apartment complex in the area. Our crews will be arriving there on the scene in just a moment. We still have wires down also in LaGrange, Kentucky, but also being told pretty quiet out there.
Just got a report of a collapsed
County.
structure on Stablegate Lane. Stablegate Lane.
Stablegate.
The collapse is just east of the Snyder, just north of 64. Same place, Mallory. Makes sense.
Snyder and 64. And I do want to say that we just got an update. They did extend that tornado warning off to the northeast. So it's now been continuing to extend northeastward. This one is now in place until 1:30 in the morning. Northeastern Shelby County, southeastern Henry County, northwestern Franklin County. It's still moving toward the northeast at 70 miles per hour. That our indicated rotation. So we're looking at those rural areas of northeastern Shelby, southeastern Henry, northwestern Franklin, North Pleasureville, Bethlehem, Slabtown, Elmberg, Orville, Pleasureville. So this has continued.
That's a really wise warning, and what they did is they put it up as far east as you can go. That's out of their county warning area. That will be Wilmington's problem after that.
Any other details on the Stablegate Lane collapse? Now, that's running right off English Station Road as you get to Gene Snyder. As you get to I-64, and that is a series of apartment complexes in that area. Looks to be pretty new apartment complex.
That's all I have.
Do you have an address on that?
Stablegate Lane, the collapse is just east of the Snyder, just north of 64. I have no address.
There we go. Okay, that would put it right in there. It looks like a series of apartment complexes, one in the area called the Stables at the Reserve at English Station. So again, we have crews out in the area checking out, and Good Samaritan Way will also take a look at that area on Stablegate Lane.
Yep. So let's look at that storm going into Henry to Franklin there, Valerie.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on there. That is a
Yes.
mess. So
Yes.
you have a leading edge line where you could have spin-ups on the leading edge. You have a bit of a bookend or a comma head, if you like commas, just do your comma. So there's like two areas, and the whole area, so that's pretty rural country on US 421 off to the east side, over towards Gratz. You need to take shelter now. This is a history of producing tornadoes.
Yes.
John Humphreys on the way out to the east end says a lot of debris on I-64. So Matt, that matches up with what you've been getting.
Yeah, that was a really good, that was probably our best couplet. The other one's down by Cloverport.
Yes.
Which we never found out what happened in Cloverport, but that was gate to gate for what, 4 scans in a row in a populated area.
Absolutely, and also too, we do have this line of, in addition to the tornado-warned storm that we're continuing the track towards imminence and just south of Newcastle, there's also a line of severe thunderstorms that are still just going to be developing south of Elizabethtown along I-65.
Yep.
That is still another set of storms that we're going to pay close attention to. There's some strong winds definitely associated with those as well. So I would say along Mumfordville, Bonneville, there's definitely some strong winds about to impact those areas as well. Winds over 50 miles per hour indicated in those severe thunderstorms. So I would recommend that we do continue to watch those areas because those are still going to pack a bit of a punch. You'll notice as we zoom in just a little bit closer here, just towards the south of Elizabethtown, along I-65. Pretty much if you are in Elizabethtown right now, you're definitely seeing some strong severe thunderstorm activity. That severe thunderstorm warning is also in place until 1:30 in the morning. Those storms are moving towards the northeast at 75 miles per hour. So those are definitely some strong severe thunderstorms that are going to be arriving just along, once again, if you are in Sonora or Bonneville, Mumfordville, you're going to see some severe thunderstorms arrive there soon, including some of those damaging winds is looking like the primary threat with those storms. Nothing rotating at the moment, but it looks like a very strong, damaging straight line wind event will likely be impacting those areas.
Excellent point. And what's interesting, what you just said, if you line up what Matt just said and go from Shelbyville to the southwest of Russellville, they're almost in the same line. They're getting storm after storm after storm on that little thing. Flash flooding is on the table, and you're starting to see more and more flash flood warnings as they move to the east.
So our storm chaser, John Humphreys, now zeroing in on the east end. He's going to get off of 64 here. He's saying, he just told us, of course, a lot of debris on 64. He's also seeing emergency crews in an apartment complex. That would match up with Stablegate Lane area there, which is just a series of apartment complexes, pretty new from what I could tell, north of 564, right off English Station Road. Puts it really in the Middletown area.
Middletown, Eastwood, right in there, yeah. So the latest scan for we still have a tornado warning. From Henry all the way to the near Owen County. There's still rotation. It's not like it once was. If in that area, if you're in that tornado warning in the Pleasureville, east of Pleasureville, you're under tornado warning for another several minutes, and then it will be expired because it's going to be in Owen County before you know it, and that's the Wilmington, Ohio office that covers that county. Very heavy rain continues to be the big threat after this. I think you're going to see less and less tornado warnings in the next hour, less and less. I think we're running out of tornado warnings, and I think you're going to see severe thunderstorm warnings with turning into a flash flood warning event.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing at this point. So as I've been mentioning, I mean, we talked about this with the Sunday event as well, how once that leading line rolls through, you have just the rain on the backside of it. And we're seeing that with some of these active warnings at this point.
Right.
So we have that line of severe thunderstorm warnings that we've been talking about that Matt mentioned. And then on the backside of that, you have all of your flash flood warnings in the green color as well. So we have one active tornado warning as we speak, and this will be moving out of the Kentucky Ana viewing area here shortly. This takes us until 1:30, but I feel like it's already kind of on its way out.
They're going to cancel it within 8 minutes,
Yes.
9 minutes. They'll be out of there.
We're also trying to track down to see if there's any injuries being reported on these structure collapses. So far, I'm getting from Jody Myman, the head of the Louisville Emergency Services, no report injuries yet. That could change. Also, getting just a text here from Joe Arnold with the Kentucky Electrical Cooperatives. Very important power source. You know, we talk about LG&E a lot. They handle a lot of the area, but the electrical cooperatives take care of a big part of our viewing area. 2,000 customers out in Meade County, co-op members there without power. 1,500 Salt River co-op members without power, mainly Nelson and Bullitt County. Statewide, 17,000 co-op members without power. Those are large numbers expected to grow through the evening. Again, that's from the Kentucky Electrical Cooperatives and our good friend Joe Arnold. Thank you for passing that along. Our crews are also getting ready to bring us live reports. So if you're staying up with us tonight, stay here with us. We're going to have live reports from our crews when they reach the scenes of some of these structural collapses we've been talking about. We want to get there, see them, be able to tell you just how serious it is in just a moment.
All right, and I do want to bring us back to the radar here, show you that big picture view of the Kentucky Ana viewing area and what we are looking at. Obviously, very strong storm system as we've been tracking these tornado warnings for the past 2.5 hours here along this line. And even if you're not under a tornado warning, we've been dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings due to those strong wind gusts, 60 miles per hour or stronger in some cases. Heavy rainfall, of course, frequent lightning as well. If you're wondering where the current tornado warnings are, once again, we've been tracking this one that was moving through the Louisville metro area and is now marching off to the east here. So this is in Henry County, moving out pretty quickly here, and that will be moving out of the Kentucky Ana viewing area.
Look at the new tornado warning. So they're covering the northeast part of their area, which that's going to cover a bunch of counties. I'll let you go through it, but there's a new tornado warning.
Yes, so this one just to the southeast. Yeah, so northeastern Shelby, northern Scott, southeastern Henry, west central Harrison, northern Franklin. That is until 1:30.
With the little S that's forming right there.
Yep. So that's what they're watching right here.
Yep, there it is. We've seen that before tonight.
Yes, we have. So when you have one of these squall lines of storms, you really have to watch for all these notches, nubs, S's, whatever term you want to give it, because that's where we're seeing those indications of potential rotation, and that's why we're getting these tornado warnings within these lines of thunderstorms here. So this is that same system that was driving through Jefferson County earlier and has caused quite a bit of damage that we're starting to get some of those damage reports in here. But still a very noisy storm moving through Shelbyville, Taylorsville, heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, thunder. You're probably hearing that through E-Town, Radcliffe as well as this pushes off to the east. Oh, so is this a warning?
We have a new tornado warning for Hardin, Laurie, and Nelson in Washington County until 1:30 a.m.
Yes, just saw that as I was zooming down here. So Bardstown, you are included in this tornado warning. New Haven, Springfield as well. So this is until, you all said 1:30, yes. So
that's a Boeing segment. They're watching the storm to the northwest of New Haven. That's heading towards Bardstown. That will be one where you see rotation on a line, whereas the one up to the northeast is more of that S-shaped thing again.
Right. So this is the newest tornado warning that we are looking at. It does include New Haven. You all need to get in your safe place. Heading toward Bardstown or the south side of Bardstown there, Springfield, eventually Willisburg as well, as this tracks off to the northeast. All these storms tracking off to the northeast pretty quickly, around 70 miles per hour here. So this is off to the east of E-Town at this point.
Just to the east of E-Town, and winds within the storm are looking fairly intense also. We're picking up on winds that are gusting fairly strong, over 70 miles per hour as well with this storm system. Within that split too, whenever we're taking a look at the velocity, you'll notice that it's definitely still holding on to a fair amount of circulation.
You know, really watch it in Nelson County, New Haven, Bardstown, all the distilleries down there. This thing's moving off to the northeast at a good clip. Then we go up to the That one that's Henry County, that will be expired or canceled in the next 5 minutes, I would think. And then you have to deal with the new one, that little thin, very thin warning up against the Wilmington office off to the north. That one, you definitely see a new nub. See the nub there? Just west of 127. That will probably, and I start to see the velocity really increase there. So right there, west of 127, what would it be, south of Monterey, that's a really good area for a tornado to form, right in there.
Yeah, so this is the one that will be moving out of our Kentucky viewing area as we continue onward here. And then, as we mentioned, lines of severe thunderstorm warnings, and then this new tornado warning we're watching. New Haven, Bardstown, need you in your safe place here. This warning goes until 1:30 tonight, so we have about another 20-25 minutes that we need you down in the basement, interior room, away from windows, as we track this latest tornado warning for you until 1:30 local time.
Yeah, so folks, let's talk about the Nelson County storm. New Haven. If you were just a hair, see that little nub right there?
Yes.
Just a hair. If you go back, you can see drying on the northwest side. That's like a rear inflow jet. That's a good indication of rotation on the leading edge. So New Haven, and the south side of Bardstown. That is a really dangerous area in the next 10 minutes.
Yep.
That also includes Nelsonville, Balltown, Bellwood. There are other cities that are included in that line, in that direction as well. So once again, that's a quick moving storm. Bellwood, Nelsonville, Balltown, Culvertown also included in there. That is definitely in that tornado warned storm.
Some good news for the Louisville folks. You're just getting rain now. It's a rain event. Your severe weather threat is over.
Yes.
Folks out towards Owensboro and along the the Western Kentucky Parkway, if you're north of there, it's over.
And also, too, the rainfall has definitely been significant with these storms, too. Some of the rainfall totals estimated from the radar are over 4 inches, closer towards Sellerburg. It's estimated that we saw over 2 inches near Corydon, and just near New Albany area, over 3 inches. So these storms have definitely produced a lot of rainfall, and this is just the beginning of a very steady, widespread rain event that's going to be lasting for the next several days.
Yeah, so the main segment of this line that we're really focused on here is more or less where you're seeing a lot of that lightning. But I was east of Newcastle down to Frankfort, down Bardstown, E-Town, Litchfield as well. On the backside of that northwest side, Louisville. Our severe weather threat now off to our east and southeast at this point. So now we're just seeing that rain event into southern Indiana as well. So if you've been waiting up to go to bed, you're good at this point. Brandenburg, Hardinsburg as well. You all had several rounds of those strong storms that rolled through here. And now we're really focused on this one lingering tornado warning that we do have for the Bardstown area and for the New Haven area. And this will be taking us for the next 20 minutes or so as we track it off to the northeast here. So you need to be in your safe place for the next 20 minutes, away from windows, lowest level of your home, as we do continue to track this tornado warning for you until 1:30 local time here.
As forecast, that Henry County storm's gone, the tornado warning's gone on that. And I was just watching your lightning display here. The 2 tornado warnings that are in effect right now are both the prolific lightning producers. The one that's straddling that unusual warning along 127, you definitely see an S shape. When you see an S shape like that, that's an indication on the S where you can get rotation and a tornado, and I definitely see that. If you see that, I don't know if you can highlight that again. And then you go down to Nelson County, same thing. You're getting what's called a line break. So one part of the storm enhances and goes to the north, the other one to the south, and in between you get a spin. So there's a spin indicated, I would say 2 or 3 miles northeast of New Haven, all heading to the northeast towards Bardstown. Folks in Bardstown have a plan right now, and we're going to be watching these 2 tornado warnings as they move off to the east at 60 to 70 miles an hour.
Right, so if I put, let's see.
Got that nub again?
Yep.
There it is.
The nub.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There it is. Yep, right there. Yeah. That
So,
would be where you're going to get it, right on that leading edge north of New Haven.
so as this continues to track northeastward here, This is kind of just a general idea of the timing. We have this warning in place until 1:30. And as we've been mentioning with a lot of these tornado warnings that we've had tonight, similar to over the weekend, obviously every setup is a little bit different here, but at least the warned storms have been moving pretty quickly. So I need you down in your safe place. We'll get this storm over you, and then you can come back out once it's quickly passed off to the east and northeast here, because they're moving right along at this point, moving through Nelson County. This evening.
New Haven definitely is in that region that is getting a lot of those impacts, along with strong winds and that rotation. Also, as I mentioned earlier, Balltown, Bellwood, Bardstown, that is all included there. It looks like that they just trimmed down the warning a bit, and still in place until 1:30 a.m.
Yep. That's exactly right. So I don't have a lot of towns along US 127 for the northern warning. If you're on 127, that's where the S is. That's where the inflow notch is, a little rotation on the leading edge. That's about as thin a warning as you'll ever see, as they tried to straddle the border. That's wafer thin. And that's moving off to the northeast towards Corinth and north of Sadieville. That one, you see some severe thunderstorm warnings in between that Matt was mentioning. Then let's go down to Bardstown again. I mean, that's really a good indication. If you look at the velocity, I would say it's maybe 3 or 4 miles from New Haven right about now. That's another area of concern. Those are our 2 big storms. The rest is a heavy rain producer and some wind in between.
Yep. And for anybody who's just sticking with us, I know we've been on for the last couple of hours here. Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, WHAS 11, along with meteorologist Matt Breland and meteorologist John Gordon here. We're here keeping you safe through this storm, just as we always will do so. And we've been watching that leading line. We had a few cells out ahead of it that we were paying attention to earlier this evening, but it's really been that main line that's continuing to track east and southeastward through here, spinning up some of these severe thunderstorm warnings and also tornado warnings at this point. And the one that we're really paying attention to here is moving east of New Haven, including Bardstown, until 1:30. This is the active tornado warning that we are watching at this point. And we do want you to make sure until this has been allowed to be chipped away from west to east or southwest to northeast and pushes off out of the area.
And we have been receiving reports of damage that these storms have been causing. So these are definitely damaging storms that have been passing through ever since they arrived into the Louisville metro. We've been getting reports of intersections of the Gene Snyder. We've got teams that are going to be headed out that direction to give us the latest updates with what kind of damage we've been seeing. We've heard that there's been some apartment buildings that may have been hit by some straight line winds. We're going to continue to keep you updated with those reports.
So you declared Louisville free at about 1:08. I looked up, marked the time. It's just remarkable to me that in the last few days we've had 2 tornadoes to deal with this community. There are many times where we go years without really having to worry about it in Metro Louisville. Springtime, we're always on alert around here because of the anniversary we're now in, April 3rd. But talk about how the fact that we've had two tornadoes in just a matter of a few days.
Absolutely right. So let's go back a little history. April 3rd, 74. April 1st, 74, there was a tornado outbreak. No one remembers. 2012, everyone remembers Henryville. What happened 3 days prior? We had 8 tornadoes just west of February 29th, the leap year tornadoes. E-Town got hit, LaRue County got hit. It is strange. It seems to go this way everywhere I've worked in my life. You have 2 events in 1 week. Next week is much better.
Yes, let's all just get through this week.
So
because
real quick on the storm in Nelson County.
Yes.
So in the last scan, I'm using some roads because I don't see any towns, but off of 31E, 46, 27, 35, there's a little bit of a pendant forming right there. You look really careful. See that? There it is. On the south side, right there it is. Yep. That's where a tornado would be forming. So folks, in southern part of Nelson County, that's a good indication of a tornado on radar. That's why we put the warning was out, and that goes off. That's moving east. Now, next thing you know, it'll be on the south side of Bardstown, heading towards Willisburg.
So if you are included in this tornado warning, as we've been mentioning, get to your safe place. It is moving very quickly off to the northeast, around 70 miles per hour. But as we mentioned, south side of Bardstown here, it's just east of New Haven at this point. New Haven no longer included in that warning because this is now, once again, quickly pushing off to the east and northeast here. This is what we've been seeing all night with these embedded thunderstorms that are really tapping into that shear, tapping into that rotation, and spinning up along the line here as this continues to slowly but surely track off to the east, these individual storms pushing off to the northeast as well.
Yeah, that thing continues to move off to the northeast. The tornado warning, the wafer thin one, the western part of that warning, you're good. If you're west of 127, you're in the clear. If you're east of 127 in the thin warning towards north of Sadieville and Corinth, there's definitely an outward S there. In fact, I'm sure the Weather Service is watching the one, it's right straddling the box. So north of Stamping Grounds, that's still an area where you could get a spin up. So along and near that warning, right in there. But the one that catches my eye, and Mallory and Matt's eye, is the one that's south of Bardstown.
Yes.
Heading to the east at a good clip. And there's definitely a spin there. Whether or not it can get on the surface, I don't know. It's not as strong as the one in Jefferson County where we had all the damage reports that you've heard from Doug.
Right, and even though, you know, it's like what we say too, like these are definitely tornado-warned storms. Even if there's not a confirmed tornado on the ground, we're still seeing winds definitely over 70 miles per hour, and that is strong enough to certainly cause damage at the surface. So even if there is not a confirmed tornado on the ground within that certain storm, there certainly are some winds that are exceeding 70 miles per hour, and that can easily knock over trees, power poles, do damage to roofs. That's something that's very much happening within that storm.
Several hours ago, we had a little team meeting and we discussed, is this really going to happen? And I said yes, because I just looked at the wind at the Nashville sounding. We had 60 miles an hour at 4,000 feet. And we had 110 knots or 110 miles an hour up there at 30,000 feet. So the wind energy's still there. So you still have wind energy, folks. You still have instability. And we got moisture. Matt went outside, said it's very muggy outside.
It was very muggy around 9 p.m. right before we had our first set of warnings arrive into the little metro. I did step outside just to get a feel of the air, and there certainly was all the ingredients you could just tell were in place.
Look at the last scan of the velocity. Go to the SR, the storm relative motion, south of Bardstown, and you see the little, there it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Right there.
Right there.
So this is what we're watching for that
Right
tornado
there.
warning.
There it is.
So anytime you see the bright reds, bright greens next to each other, that's not a good sign.
That's wrapped back to the northwest, the cyclonic side, so that I really think there's a strong indication of a tornado there right now.
So this is just south of Bardstown, around Botland, heading toward Booker, and continuing off to the northeast from there. So this is why we have that tornado warning currently in place for portions of Nelson County, also portions of Washington County as well. This is until 1:30. So I need you in your safe place for the next 10 minutes or so as this storm continues to track off to the east and northeast here. So you can see that right there on your velocity. Once again, this looks like it's east of 49.
Yeah, look at the new scan. You got gate to gate now. The last scan that just came in.
Oh, yep.
There it is. It's on the, I would bet money there's a tornado on the ground right now.
So this is moving south of Botland and heading toward Fredericktown and eventually Booker, Mooresville.
Yeah.
In that direction here.
And you see what the little line break on the reflectivity. It's right there. That's a perfect textbook radar tornado right there.
So if you all see what I'm pointing out to right here. So this is where Bardstown is off to the northwest. So this is now northwest of Bardstown, or excuse me, Bardstown is the northwest. This is southeast of Bardstown. And it's moving off to the east and northeast. So that's that velocity signature that we're seeing there. That shows you where we have rotation. It gives you an idea of storm speeds and storm direction, or wind speeds and wind direction. And that's why we have that warning currently in place here.
And the Weather Service, I know this is getting out of our market here, but the Weather Service, that thin wafer warning has expanded in size up to the north. They had to cover that S-shaped I told you about a few minutes ago, Sadieville. So that's still a legitimate warning. Folks up Sadieville, Corinth, Berry, would not be surprised to see another spin-up tornado on that line. But the one that really catches our eye, this looks very similar to the one in Jefferson County. Very similar. So I don't really know that area very well, but south of Bardstown, near 150, very strong indications of a tornado.
Yes. I'm going to look into more information on this to see how quickly it's moving. Most of these
coefficient, you getting anything there?
So far, I'm not seeing anything on correlation coefficient, which is what we use to track non-weather objects in the atmosphere. As of right now, I'm not seeing anything that could indicate debris, but that still is no reason to take this lightly. There definitely are some very intense winds circulating within that storm.
Yep. It was a little weaker on that last scan, but definitely that's an area to really watch. Nelson, it's getting into, what is that, Marion?
Yep.
To the east, yep.
So if I put this is to the northeast at 70 miles per hour. This is a look at some of your storm timing here. If this hangs together, the little notch that we've been watching. 123 Booker, 130 Brush Grove, and then it moves out of that warned area. 136 Battle, 140 Ballard, 145 would be Harrodsburg. That's if it continues onward in that direction there.
Yep. Yeah, that's a legitimate warning. That's the real deal. And it's trying to wrap itself. If you notice what Mallory was just showing you, it wraps itself back to the northwest. So that's kind of the spin it creates. So that is a storm very similar to the one in Louisville a little bit ago. So folks in the eastern part going, heading toward, I love Willisburg, over north of Springfield, all in that rugged country in there. That's a good indication of a tornado area. Please seek your shelter, take a plan of action. Very heavy rain everywhere else, for sure.
So this current warning is until 1:30. That takes us for the next 8 minutes. And we'll kind of see if it's continued to be extended from there.
Yep. So the latest scan, the reflectivity, we look at the amount of energy in the storm. And if you look, there's kinks and nubs on there, a little bit of an S pattern. And then that rotation back to the northwest side there, that little notch that she just showed you, there it is. Off to the northeast, that's moving out of our designated market area, and that's Wilmington as issued for going up in the northern part of the state. Our main storm is the one in Nelson County. Everything else is heavy rain, or you've been talking about the wind.
Wind absolutely is another primary threat that we're keeping track of. A lot of these storms are containing winds that are easily gusting over 70 miles per hour. One that we are seeing again also is one near Hodgenville. There is a strong storm headed that direction that's containing some strong wind gusts. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some storms there or some possible damage there with those storms that are passing through there. But absolutely our main primary focus is going to be that Nelson County tornado warned storm.
And we just got this report, Doug, of LMP, the Metro Scanner folks. Moderate damage to 2 multi-level structures. About 30 units have been involved at the Stablegate Place.
We have a reporter there. We're going to go there as soon as we get this clear, all clear from you all about Bardstown. Really want to focus, really want to focus on that for the moment. So we're going to go out to eastern Jefferson County in just a second.
Okay, so this is the one tornado warning that we are still watching for our viewing area. Once again, it's pushing through Nelson County, through Washington County as well, and it's pushing off to the northeast here. So we were seeing those signs of rotation, as we mentioned earlier, and this warning will take us for the next 5 minutes here. So
yeah, it's really weakened on the south side, and on the north side, it is trying a little bit south of Bloomfield. So the focus where it was, that has ended. Now let's go up there towards, oh gosh, just south of Bloomfield. You got some towns there. Isn't that the, what highway is that? That is Highway 2738 and 458. That's the one area I would be concerned about. The one where we were is really cut back.
And winds within that storm are estimated at 80 miles per hour. So that's definitely some strong, intense wind gusts that could be that had just passed through Bloomfield, actually.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I just got a report. Fairly widespread damage. Campus Place in J-Town, seeing insulation in the trees.
So we're continuing to get some of those storm reports in from the storms that we were tracking earlier this evening. We did have tornado warned storms that were moving through Jefferson County, the Louisville metro area, that continue to march off to the northeast and are now out of our designated viewing area. And in addition to that, we've been watching, of course, a line of severe thunderstorm warnings. This is that main line of storms that we've been watching here. And you can tell the strongest point of this storm segment is where all the lightning is and where all the warnings are, of course. And so circling that Once again, this is that main area that we're still watching. So Litchfield, E-Town, Bardstown, Frankfort, off to the northeast there. And then behind that, or on the backside, I would say on the west and northwest side of that, we are seeing much quieter conditions, just ongoing rainfall at this point, and that's why we're starting to see some of those storm reports roll in from those storms earlier on in the evening. But we're still watching this one tornado warning cell once again until 1:30 that I'm zooming into as we speak here.
Yeah, it's definitely weakened across the whole southern part of the storm. It's the northern part that has a little bit of rotation on the southeast of Bloomfield. And that's moving out. That's going to be out of the box here in 5 minutes. They've got to make a decision. My sense is they'll go severe further east. We'll see what they do. That's just my guess. Unless it really spins right back up. Before, I'm sure there was a tornado on the ground near New Haven.
Over these last scans, too, it's definitely evolved into more of what appears to be a straight line wind event.
Yep. Totally agree.
You spent a long time of your career here at the Louisville National Weather Service offices, going out the next day and days afterwards with the survey crews. Judging on the damage reports you're hearing here in the nighttime hours, we've got insulation in the trees, we have lightning strikes and rooftops, we have a lot of debris blown over, like on I-64. What would you guess your best guess for tomorrow as to what kind of tornadoes, if any, actually touch down in the metro area?
When you get insulation up in the trees and what we saw, the gate-to-gate, that's a tornado. They confirmed it already. My guess it will be in the 1 category, which starts at 86 miles an hour, goes up to 111 miles an hour. That would be my guess.
You think you're going to see?
John's got some new stuff. I look forward to seeing these pictures.
You think we'll see several of those reports tomorrow?
Yeah, there'll be more reports. More and more we get reports days later, and you even saw Sunday night. Suddenly all the reports came in the next day.
You all have always pointed out through the evening the similarity to the Sunday night storm, and I just really picked up on that again looking at the LG&E power outage map for Jefferson County. Where's the focus of the power outages right now? The southern part of Jefferson County. Look what we're dealing with in the Bardstown area right now. Same setup was Sunday night as well, with tornado warnings out around there. Southern Jefferson County really taking the brunt on the power outages as that storm moved across, starting from Valley Station several hours ago.
Yeah.
And I just got a new report in from the National Weather Service chat here. More damage report. A train storm spotter reporting damage in a subdivision called Beckley Hills.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of trees down, siding down, roofs, windows. No injuries to report at this time. This is in East Louisville. So
It's a beautiful subdivision.
That's right. That's in the area.
Beckley Hills.
Where we are now. So we want to go to our reporter, Clarice Shaley, is now on the scene on the Stable Gate Lane area. Now, this is just north of I-64. In fact, you can see 64 from this new apartment complex. It's off English Station Road. So, Clarice, originally this was reported as a structure collapse. What are you seeing out there? What can you tell us may have happened?
Well, Doug, it's definitely a rude awakening for a lot of people in this apartment complex. What I'm seeing is a lot of people standing around just trying to look at everything, take in what has just happened. From what I can see on the roof, it looks like it's been burnt a little bit. When I've been asking people about what happened, all they've just said is tornado. They just said the tornado came through, and it shows here on the ground tons of debris from the high winds that we've been experiencing all day. But I do want to point our direction over to what looks like really used to be a window over on this building here. It's been boarded up. It looks as well that a lot of the emergency management people who are on scene have really left scene and are just checking up with people, making sure they're okay. But a lot of that has really been wrapped up at this point. And of course, as it's continuing to rain, people are still trying to figure everything out. Not sure about what is happening with the residents in this area, how they're doing at this point. But this is what it looks like after this storm for a lot of people in this area. Live in Eastwood, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side, Doug.
Clarice, real quickly, do you see ambulances on the scene? Earlier, I was asking Louisville Metro Emergency Services if they had any injuries out there. They told us that they had no reports yet. Of course, that can always change. What are you seeing out there about any potential injuries?
Right now, Doug, not seeing any injuries. When we did first get to the scene, there were some ambulances here. We were only here for about 10-15 minutes and they left. So I'm not sure exactly how people are doing now, but everyone seems to be walking around, seems to be okay, and on phones checking in with people maybe at this point.
Okay, so once again, if our photojournalist could zoom into that apartment complex. This is a fairly new apartment complex. It appears that you've got some lights on there, Clarice. It doesn't look like they've at least lost power, but you say the damage is focused on the rooftop there, right up there. It looks like what? They're telling you the tornado hit that rooftop?
Not sure if the tornado hit the rooftop, but I can definitely tell a lot of pieces have been torn from this building. Even walking up, I've seen pieces on the ground on other apartment complex buildings nearby. It looks to me like there is some fire damage, but I really can't tell for sure in this just dark lighting and the time of day that it is, really.
All right, very good. Thank you for the eyewitness report there. Again, this is Stablegate Lane, folks. It's off English Station Road in far eastern Jefferson County. That is in the Middletown area. This is a brand new, pretty new apartment complex there. And John Gordon, of course, you spent many years going out to places like this apartment complex the next day. Likely, what do you think is the likelihood here? It has damage up to the rooftop. Is that going to be really strong winds, or maybe it got touched by a EF0 or EF1 tornado?
Well, they already confirmed it, and when you get insulation in the trees, and based on everything I hear, and it was a supercell, so it was a tornado. It'll be a tornado.
And that's confirmed?
They already had it confirmed in the they already did it in the warning, so it's a confirmed tornado.
That's right. This is the one that developed along I-64 in the Gene Snyder.
It'll be an EF1 of some capacity.
Yeah, that was when, if you were watching our coverage earlier, it was that purple polygon.
Yep.
And anytime our system turns that tornado warning from a red to a purple, that means it has been confirmed. So that's what we were looking at earlier. I do have some good news with that storm that we were watching around Bardstown, Nelson County, Washington County, Marion County, as it's continuing east and northeastward heading toward Lexington. It is now a severe thunderstorm warning. So they have dropped the tornado warning portion of that as it continues onward here. So we don't have any active tornado warnings for our particular viewing area. There is one down in south central Kentucky. You can see it looks like just around the Bowling Green area there. Otherwise, you're starting to see more of those flash flood warnings fill in on the backside of that, because even though that leading line, it's continuing to march east and northeastward, making a lot of noise, a lot of lightning with that, and heavy rainfall as well. But on the backside, as that rain continues to fall, we're starting to see more of that flooding threat. And as we know, we're going to be watching that flooding threat for the coming days, because we are under a flood watch from now until Sunday morning. Because even though we've been focusing, of course, in on this particular severe thunderstorm threat, this tornado threat tonight, we have more rounds of showers and thunderstorms on the way this week. So don't let your guard down. We're going to be doing a lot of cleaning up, as we know, tomorrow, but we do have more rain on the way and more flooding threats. That's going to be really what we transition over to as we head throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend as well.
So right now, as we speak here at 1:34 a.m., are there any more tornado warnings for our viewing area?
Not for Kentuckiana.
Okay, so at the moment, let's try to wrap everything up, at least give people the perspective we have. Again, daylight is going to tell us such a different story tomorrow. We do know that the power outages for Louisville alone have now soared. They're right at about 7,000. Now, we have had summer thunderstorms where it's been much higher, up to 10, 11, 12,000 in just Louisville alone. So at this moment, that's a number that is I've always been told by LG&E, anything under 10,000 is pretty manageable to them, depending on how badly damaged some of the power lines are. It appears in Jefferson County, at least, the damage is confined to Jeffersontown at the moment. It looks like far eastern Jefferson County.
East Louisville.
We have also some reports in southern Jefferson County of trees down and some minor damage there. But it looks like most of the severe damage we've been getting, Mallory and John and Matt, would be focused in southern Indiana. Is that correct?
There were several reports of damage in southern Indiana, especially for that storm that was located in Let's see here.
Well, they confirmed the storm in Madisonville, went up to Owensboro, and then it went to southern Indiana, so I agree, Doug. And then you had the one in Louisville and possibly the one in Bardstown area.
South Boston also, there were reports of damage in that city.
And at one time, Brandenburg and Meade County, of course, very concerned about that tornado that was coming out of Owensboro. Owensboro.
So as we've been mentioning, I know we'll get more damage reports in the light of day tomorrow once this kind of moves on through. Make sure to continue to send us your damage reports in the National Weather Service, your damage reports, so they know the areas to survey as we move forward with this. We're still tracking showers and thunderstorms across the area, still on the Max HT radar. No active warnings as we speak. The closest one down in Bowling Green, that storm looks very healthy, a lot of lightning with that. So we'll have to watch the movement with that in terms of if it continues onward closer to Adair County as well. But it does look like that tornado warning storm that we were watching, oh, there's another warning on it, but that's just outside of our viewing area at this point.
Okay, some of the live pictures you see this is Campus Place in Jeffersontown. John Gordon, you brought this up. You got a report about damage in Jeffersontown, and
that's a tornado. I don't need to even be there.
Say that again. Go ahead.
That's a tornado. I don't even have to be there. I know it's a tornado.
Tell me about what you're seeing here that
You're
makes
out insulation in the trees. You saw the debris going in multiple directions, roof structures over, and plus the radar told you it was a supercell tornado. I guarantee that's a tornado. Plus they confirmed it anyway.
So Campus Place, of course, in the J-Town area, a big industrial park area of eastern Jefferson County there. And of course, our John Humphreys, as he was driving out there, saw a lot of that, as we see the lightning flashing in Kentuckiana still, saw a lot of that debris right on I-64.
Yeah. Yeah, it really showed, it really was an Oklahoma tornado, Mallory, right there.
Right, yeah, we were seeing that clear signature on radar, and we kept talking about that area around 64 and 265 as well, and we've gotten those reports coming in from East Louisville.
I suspect there's more reports like this somewhere in southern Indiana that we don't know right now.
Okay, this is right by the Papa John's headquarters. This is Campus Place is over there. You'll find a BMW dealership, a Lexus dealership, right off of Blankenbaker and near just south of I-64 there, right off of Blankenbaker. So this gives you an idea of where our live picture is coming to you from our storm chaser, John Humphreys. Heavy concentration of businesses in this part of eastern Jefferson County. As you're just probably a few miles away from the Gene Snyder at this point. Look at that as he's driving around. It's everywhere he turns. Going to be a lot of rooftop damage, it seems, here in this part of the county.
Guarantee that's a tornado. And you just see debris in every direction, types of different debris. We need more daylight to get a better handle of it. But
what kind of strength of tornado do you think here, John, based on what we're seeing here?
It's at least an EF1, I'll just say that. It's not a 0. So we started at 87 and we go up to 111. So I'd have to see more, but they'll confirm a tornado tomorrow when they get out there. In the rain, surveying in the rain.
Steady amounts of rain showers as we go. So we're done with the intense severe thunderstorm part of this storm system. Now we have several days of widespread rain showers that will be lasting until Sunday. This is whenever now we're shifting our primary threat from these severe thunderstorms containing winds. Now our main concern is going to be flooding across Kentucky.
And one other thing for our friends in Adair County. There's a nasty storm that may get into southern Adair County in about an hour.
That's what I'm paying attention to, the one that's right around Bowling Green?
Yep.
So there's this particular storm that we're talking about here. I mean, first of all, look at all the lightning with it.
Yeah, the lightning went nuts on things.
It's crossing 65, it looks like, between Bowling Green and Franklin. Obviously, this is not in our Kentuckiana viewing area, but as John was mentioning, it's going to continue this eastward trajectory here, and we got to watch out for our friends in Adair County.
Southern Adair. Yeah.
So.
Well, I think as we wrap up this special report, again, we're going to be on standby here after we go off the air, and then a Good Morning Kentuckiana is coming into the building as we speak, and they're going to be with you here as we get on the morning news to bring you more of the aftermath. Let's go ahead. I thought it was great. Matt Breland just brought that up. Let's go ahead and focus on the rain coming over the next few days. Are we still believing this is going to be historic rainfall, possibly by the time it ends on Sunday?
I mean, a lot of rain is coming. We're talking 6 to 10 inches, most likely across much of Kentuckiana here. So that is a good reason why we do have this flood watch in place. It's just going to be waves of rain over the coming days. That does not mean it's going to rain 24 hours for the next 4 days here, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we're having this stationary boundary. Basically, this cold front that's been driving all of these storms this week is going to stall out, and it's going to allow those waves of activity to continue onward. We could have a few strong storms within that, but really we're going to transition over to that heavy rainfall and flooding threat. And we're talking, yes, 6 to 10 inches of rainfall possible, it looks like, over the coming days here.
And it looks like, just looking at the radar estimate right now, if you go Frankfort, Bardstown, E-Town, Litchfield to the west, basically 2 to 3 inches of rain. So we're forecasting 6 to 10. So we've already got a bunch of that already.
Okay, so as we wrap up this special weather impact alert coverage led by our Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, along with Meteorologist Matt Breland, and now being joined by our special contributor John Gordon, just retired from the National Weather Service. He's going to be with WHAS 11 and through the weekend, and he is going to be working with our weather impact team. So glad to have you on board, John. Thank you so much for your insight.
Yes, yes, really, really appreciate
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be talking to you again tomorrow as some of these tornado reports come in. I'm Doug Proffitt. This has been our live team coverage from the WHAS 11 Weather Impact Team of tornadoes. Once again, second outbreak since Sunday, moving all across Kentuckiana in a similar fashion to what we saw Sunday. Stay here with us for any special reports throughout the evening. Good Morning Kentuckiana on the way at 5 a.m. here from WHAS 11 News.